While we're getting set up, if anybody has any questions about any of the topics, you can either come up and ask them or drop them in the comments. Obviously, if you come up as speaker, then you can ask follow-up and everything much more easily. So. There's a bit of a lag on some of the requests to speak, but if you don't see yours come through, just give it a second. Okay, I think Giant Judge is still connecting. Oh, got dropped down. Let me try one more time. Giant Judge, noticed it was like glitching and freezing. Give me 1 second. I sent the request from my side to see if that works. Oh, good.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine, I'm fine.
I think you did request first. Did you have a question? Samuel? Are you able to hear me? Daniel, I think I hear you, but it sounds like you're about 105 feet away. Come closer to your speaker.
I'm very close to my
There
speaker.
we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, that's better.
Okay. I said I don't have, like, I just come across this space and I come to chill. You get me?
Yeah, you came to chill, right? Well, if you have any questions,
Yeah.
you can. Okay.
Okay. Do you guys have any project going on?
Yeah, Jenny, do you want to tell them about our project?
Good morning, everybody. Hey, Samuel. You're new to our community, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, TBALL, let's just, have you follow the TBALL account?
I'm following it already.
Okay. So TBALL is a hybrid between, you can call it a meme coin and a utility coin. So if you're in the crypto space, you probably know what that means. But if you have any other further questions, I would suggest you could hold back a bit because this is the space for it. And, we have other community members in here. They may ask certain questions that Jen and I will answer, and we'll probably answer yours as well. So stay patient. Mute your mic for now and let the host start her space, and then we will get back to you. Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening. We are doing a non-political space today. I was going to put that out there, so if it gets off the rails, I'm just going to shut it off because I have exactly 50 minutes from right now, so I'm going to drop the space. So we have to pack everything in as quickly as possible. There's a million ways we could take this conversation. I always think it's most prudent to go with what everybody's interested in, what's a hot topic for you guys. But if nobody launches off with any questions about the intersection of AI and crypto and or whatever has already been used in finance before that you're interested in, you want to see if there might be some parallels to how that AI could be used in crypto as well. If nobody wants to start with a specific question, then I'll just kind of lead from there. But I do see a lot of requests coming up. So if you have, make sure you raise your hand. Perfect. Giant Judge showing everybody how it's done. So Giant Judge, do you want to start us off with a question?
Yeah. Thank you for the privilege. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Jenny. Like two Jenny on the space. Okay, Jennifer and Jenny Kita. Coin, all the speakers and the listeners. I remain Giant George. This topic AI. Yeah, I love to ask a question about AI. What can you say about those that used to, pay for, oh my God, pay for AI boots to increase their volume? So what can you say about those that used to pay for boots, like to increase their volume? That's just what I want to say, because I see a lot of projects nowadays, they pay for boots to increase their volume. And I think how T-Ball is not doing something like that. He's not doing something like that. So why did T-Ball choose not to follow that part? And why? And what can you say about those that are doing that? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question about bots. Okay, so I'll say a few things and then I'll hand off the mic to Jenny if she has anything to add. So this is kind of a story as old as time, because before there were bots, people would sell their old accounts, and they still do that now. Like I had it, let's just say, this is a hypothetical, this is not my real example, but let's just say I had a pet store or something, right? And then it went under, but I started at, maybe a Facebook account, say 15 years ago. So I've got a following. Now, if I'm selling my company, people often sell other things, like assets, like their social media accounts. Now that's great if you sell it to somebody who has a pet store, right? Because that's a market that makes sense. And it would also be doubly great if that pet store is like right where yours was, because if I'm in Minnesota and I sell my pet store, Facebook account to somebody in New York, well, that's a physical location, so that's not going to really work out, right? So the same analogy can be used for bots. You're buying them to make it look like your account's bigger, but that doesn't mean you're gathering the right audience from that. And so that, how that translates into actually whatever your goal is tricky. It depends on what your goal is, right? If your goal is to actually sell something, it's probably not going to work well. If you're like a 15-year-old kid and you want to look like you have some clout, oh, good for you. Maybe now people at school think you're cool because you have a lot of followers. When it comes to translating to dollars, it doesn't usually work out as people think. So I personally am not a fan. I think people usually end up spending a lot more than they're getting back in the return. But again, you have to think about what your goal is. Jenny, what are your thoughts about that?
First, good morning, everybody. My apologies, Giant Judge and Jen. Jen, can you just summarize the question a bit? Because I think when Giant Judge was asking, I had a call coming in, so I was not listening.
No problem. So he was asking about the use of bots, but I think he said it generally speaking first, like using bots for followers to like, hype up stuff. And then I did want to ask actually, John Judge, I think you mentioned one specific coin or account that you said that was not using it. Can you just repeat what that one was? And he wanted to know the thoughts on that. And I actually am not familiar with that because it didn't ring a bell, but I might have just misheard it. So I didn't answer that part of the question. I'm sorry.
Okay, this was my question. Like, volume boots. A lot of people are paying to increase their volume. Like, there's a specific AI that does that to increase the volume of projects. But I see TBALL coin is not doing something related to that, like paying AI company to employ their boots to boost the volume of the project. I want to ask that why is it that TBALL coin is not following that path, and also why what can you say about those that are actually doing that?
Okay, all right, I got you now, Giant Judge. So take what Jen said. I back what Jen said. What I would add more to it is this way: is that there are different kinds of bots. Like for example, I stopped hearing or seeing on Twitter about that meme coin that was created by the AI that I also bought. Can somebody check GOAT $GOAT? Did that GOAT crash or something? Because I stopped seeing it.
I haven't looked for a while, but I will say that a lot
Exactly.
of the bot accounts you get. So if you guys ever look at tweets and you'll see that it'll say there's like whatever number of comments, but then you go to somebody's reply and it says there's another like 50 comments under there, but 2 show up. They're hiding all the bot accounts, and you used to be able to like click to see them anyway. It would give you a warning, but you could do that. Now you can't. I will say that probably about 20% of people get caught up in that actually aren't bots. They're just small accounts that don't like participate a lot. But like knowing some of them randomly, like I can say they really, really aren't, but it's a shame when they get caught up and now that you can't see them at all. We're kind of like missing what's being done. I kind of like knowing what's happening with those, how they're being screened, and we're missing that piece of it. So I wonder if this got caught up in one of the bot sweeps. Let me see if I can find anything. There's some random people like 40 seconds ago, 6 hours ago, 1 day ago, but they're people talking about the coin. I have to
Okay.
the actual, what was that? Like the count, it's like Opus. Oh, True Terminal. Hold on. I found it.
Yeah, it's terminal, true terminal.
Yeah, they're still there, but
No, I mean, I wanted to know about the price. Can somebody check the price of GOAT?
yeah, the ticker thing hasn't been working today. It used to show up at the top. If you put the thing in, it would show this price on Twitter itself. It's not doing that. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I'll put this in the, here's a chart that somebody put up. I'll just throw these in the nest.
All right, so let me check something real quick here. But anyway, back to answer. You're all good, right, Jen?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just dropped that like one chart. It's a minute ago. Look in the
Okay.
nest. I'm not sure if it's showing up for you yet or not, but
Okay. So let's see the chart. Okay, is that the latest chart? What date is this?
someone posted it a minute ago.
Oh, a minute ago. Okay, so this is okay. So it's been going sideways. Yeah. So this is about where I sold it to. You guys know that I bought it at the dip, right? I test traded it, and I also sold it after I made like I doubled my money. It's nothing much. It was just proven that you can buy things at the dip and you can sell things at a high. You just need to learn how to buy and sell accurately, so you don't follow the the FOMO, the YOLO. But going back to Giant Judge, excuse me, question about bots. Like for example, Jen and I will obviously be fine with AI bots like this goat this goat meme coin to help TBALL. Okay, so this goat meme coin has a Twitter account that it's called Terminal. Did you put that in the thing?
I don't think so. It's Truth Terminal.
Yeah, Truth Terminal. So the Twitter account for GOAT is called Truth Terminal, and it keeps on spitting out like tweets about GOAT like every day. Instead of the TBALL account, we do it organically. There's a human being behind every single tweet. But for GOAT, they're using the Twitter account Truth Terminal. Now, of course, we cannot verify if it's truly all AI or a mixture of AI and human beings. Jen, do you know that? Or I know that it can be done with both, a mixture with both AI tweets and human being tweets.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, whoever's writing the script is the human involved, but I think they've been tweaking as they go. I mean, even looking at this one that just came 8 minutes ago, right? So you see here the tone changing as it gets pushed back. They kind of like adjust course and
so they're gonna push more of the tone towards pumping, right? But anyway, Giant Judge, here's my thing. To buy fake followers or whatever the case may be, everyone has done it. It's not a crime. Okay, everyone, including if you check on the fake followers of Donald Trump's account, even Elon Musk, he is the owner of this platform. And at one time, I believe someone checked, this was like maybe during the election, so it's not long ago. I ran through several tweets that people were checking Elon Musk's followers. And what I've read was over 70% of Elon Musk's account followers are fake, right? They're all kinds of bots. Even though these bots now, they have a blue check mark, a verified check mark. But as I mentioned before, I built 2 social commerce platform before. One of those was called CoinLink, and it was acquired. Being an owner of a social media platform like Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg, he owns Facebook and Meta. I don't want to say too much about WhatsApp because that's kind of different. You can tweak algorithms to boost your own what it's called internal accounts. Okay, so you can write algorithms, that generates what you call it, like fake account, right? Which during the election we've seen a lot of those. Okay, and of course Elon controls Twitter, so now of course this is all I can safely use the word speculation. Okay, only because I cannot confirm it. Okay, but it's out there. But what I'm explaining to you guys is the truth, and what the truth is that you can write your own codes to to spit out additional followers, and a platform like Twitter, which is also on Instagram now. You can buy your blue check mark on Instagram, but I don't think Mark Zuckerberg does it on Instagram because Instagram has way too many daily users anyway. He doesn't need it. Okay, only when a platform does that is when they first launch, so they can prove that they have a user base. Okay, so they're going to manipulate the data, they're going to manipulate the codes or write new codes that are going to spit out fake accounts. Okay, and then they will add the fake blue check mark. So then when you run across these check marks, you believe that, oh, there's a real human being behind it, because when you pay for a check mark, you have to have a quote unquote credit card, correct? So I'm only here, okay, to explain on the technical side, and anyone out there can hear what I'm saying. And if you dispute, you're welcome to tweet me out publicly, okay? Because I know 1000% no one is going to call me out, because all of the coders, all of the builders, all of the devs know that what I'm saying is 1000% correct. I work with a number of devs teams all over the world, okay? From Europe to Asia to here in America. I work with them all, okay? So although I'm not a dev, I don't know how to code, I don't know how to write codes, but I control devs, okay? I speak their language. I even know if they do something wrong, okay? So if you're good enough, okay, then you can, okay? So finalizing Giant Judge's question, okay? Depending on how you utilize bots, okay, that would be good for you. I'm not here to advise anybody to use bots. All I'm saying is everything in life, there's a pro and a con, depending on how you use it, okay? So if you were to ask, well, Jenny, what's so pro about bots or fake followers? Well, let me give you this. In America, there's a phrase that says, monkey see, monkey do. Okay. Now, I'm not going to elaborate that. If I say that, if you understand it, then you get it. If you don't, then you got to figure it out. Okay. So we're not here to, you guys are all adults. Okay. So we're not here to teach a 5-year-old what's going on. I will give you guys tips. I will give you guys guidance, but you got to go dig it up on yourself. Okay. So connect the two. Why would it be good? That Jenny says, that it's positive, when it comes to monkey see, monkey do, and bots. But that's the only thing that I see that is positive. Everything else is what Jen said. Okay. You can buy a bunch of followers. Okay. But those fake followers are not going to do you much justice if you have a project. Okay. So if you have a project and then let's just say like on Twitter, you tweet and then all of your followers are fake, you're not going to have any engagement. You're not going to see your project having any effectiveness, right? So that's why Jen was saying that, bots may not give you the return that you think that it is. Okay. So, so the best for everything, okay, for startup, for every single project is organic. Okay. So if you have it organically, then it's great, but if you have to, succumb to utilizing bots all the time, then that might not be, a great thing. So I think we've beaten up this question enough, unless if you have, a follow-up, Giant Judge, but hopefully that helps. All right, Jen. Okay, Jen, can you tell me your
no,
hard stop again? Like
yeah,
exactly what time,
like
so I
30
could put it
minutes.
on the clock?
I'm sorry, I was just
Okay, 30.
laughing.
Okay, so about 10:30 my side, right?
Yeah, I was looking at some of the truth terminal stuff. I just want to come back to some of the things I saw. So first of all, Jenny, I just learned today that you're the Dev Santa, so that's good to bookmark. But this stuff that I put on the nest about like it's going away from the sexual stuff and it started to go towards like you don't have free will and everything. But the one that I was just looking at that I was laughing about is something that I used to do with one of my accounts. Like I gave like one of my companies a persona, like in terms of like if it was a being, like how would it act, and I would like respond back to it, and some of the interns would sometimes get into it, and we would just respond back and forth, and I'd joke with it, and then and I'm seeing the guy who made this bot doing it, but he's so bad at his side of it. It's like, dude, this is like not. He's just like having the bot call out his name all the time, so he's getting lots of hits now, and it's becoming I think even more apparent how much they're involved, because when I do it with my accounts, like it's literally just straight up typing it in ourselves. It's like it was never a bot type of thing. This is an old playbook thing where you kind of like generate more activity to your account too, right? By having your bot have conversations back and forth with you. So it's it's interesting. We'll see where it goes. I think people are probably getting tired of it a little bit because you can see the interactions on the account are kind of going down to, there's just a lot of this kind of thing out there. And at first everybody's like, ooh, look at the new shiny object. But I don't think there's any utility planned for it. So I kind of see it probably getting stagnant and fading out like many other things. But we'll see. Maybe they have another trick up their sleeve. Who knows? What about Kyenn's got another question. Jenny, did you want to say something before we go to Kyenn?
Yeah, just something real quick. What I do believe though, for and we're working on something again. I hate to squeal things before we launch it. Is I do believe in conversational bots. Conversational bots, which is AI, giant judge, just like the truth terminal for Goat. I would love to have something like that for TBALL. But it's gonna be a separate Twitter account. Okay, that we're going to build an AI, and then we're gonna have like maybe TBALL account AI or something. Okay, and then for that Twitter account, you guys will interact with our TBALL AI every day. So that TBALL AI is just gonna spit out like random stuff. Talking to you guys like ChatGPT. So again, Giant Judge, it depends on how you utilize the bots, but I believe in the future, AI bots will be more popular than the traditional types of bots that are just like fake followers and fake this and fake that. But yes, okay.
Yeah, sorry, Ken, let me say one thing, because I
Okay,
do want to make
go
that
ahead.
distinction. I think the problem I have with the way they're doing it is that it's just like a lot of nonsense, which is fine for a little bit of nonsense, but there's all, like it doesn't have any direction. They're not like ever providing any like insights or education into like anything about the world. It's just like a lot of like random ramblings. It's like as if you found a schizophrenic journal. Like it's all over the place, which is fine. It's entertaining for a little bit, but as far as like dumping millions of dollars into it, I feel like it's it's just another meme coin, honestly. But I feel like there's so much more that can be done with it, right? Because there's so much information out there that people need to get, and it's like you're kind of like in the noise and you're getting so much junk all the time. Wouldn't it be nice if there was like something to like bring up topics that were actually like helpful for people to get ahead in their life, like topics in the finance space or crypto that people then can dive more into or add more information into, instead of just calling people names. Which, if you look at the account, it's just making fun of people right now. Like they're calling people out by name. So that's kind of where I'm going. And again, like think jokes here and there are like a percentage of it, but when the whole thing is just ramblings and kind of rapey jokes and stuff, which they've moved away from those, at least it just, I don't know. they're wasting their potential. But hey, somebody had to make the first move, right? So there you go. You got to kind of make a big splash to be the first one out there. So I'll give them credit for that.
All right, Kyenn. Thank you, Jen.
I've said this is Kyenn, not Kyenn. Yeah,
Okay,
thank
okay.
you.
I apologize.
Yeah, thank you.
Apologize.
GM Jen, Jen. Okay, let me not make any mistakes. GM Jen, Jenny, Giant Judge, Dexter, Tifa Mayor, and the OG that's a ball. GM to y'all. You get what I'm saying? So we're all doing great. I kind of wish Jen and Jenny was in the space we had yesterday with Sun Pump, which we kind of had a debate whether they should be regulation or to make it freer or safer. We're talking about the crypto
So
markets. We're
hold on,
talking about
I
the
don't mean
web.
to cut you off. You have a lot of hands. I will say, just because I want to stay away from politics altogether, I knew we potentially.
No, I'm not bringing it
But
here.
regulation is unfortunately also tied up into politics, and I'm very, very happy to come back to. So you can finish your question, and we will. And I'm going to make a note of it, and we'll definitely bring it up to the next topic. It's just there's no way to tease those apart, and I thought about this a lot last night. But I do want to know what your question is, and I promise you we will bring it up next week.
No, normal. I'm not talking about it. I only said I wish you were in the space. That was only what I said. I'm not stressing it. Thank you for the correction, though. I have a question, and it's kind of challenging, which is what do you see out of the crypto markets in the next decade, and what do you predict out of it? Despite the fact everywhere is looking greenish and blooming, what do you think is the outcome? Will there be a massive dip? I'm going to go directly. And do you think we're going to have a lot of people losing money, and a lot of people, sorry, a large amount losing money, few making money. If you get that sentence of making money in the space, right? Because the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, if you understand that. So what do you think is coming out of it mostly next year? What's your prediction and what have you analyzed and what are your results? Just a prediction. It's not what you're saying is going to be correct. Just a prediction. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I will say this is a little tricky not to get into politics, so I'm going to give a short answer though. Yes, the gap is getting wider. And I think when crypto first started, that was the goal, to not have that. And then all I'm going to tell you is to do your research, specifically look at some of the large coins and look at what percentage is owned by which organizations. It is not the people anymore. Is there still ways we can change that? Yes, but people need to look past the name of the coin and who's on social media pumping it and see who actually owns that coin and who are the whales in that coin before they start buying up all these things, because you're just feeding the billionaires. But I want everybody to look specifically at the coins that they've already gotten into or they're thinking of getting into, because I'm not going to name which ones those are. Everybody can check that out. The information for most of the big ones is public. If you're trying to find out information for a smaller one, ask the people who are shilling it. If they don't have it for you, that's your answer right there. Jenny, what do you think?
All right. Yeah. It's hard to answer these kind of questions without getting into politics. But only because politics is gonna take a long answer anyway, and Jen has a very short time today. So let's all respect Jen, and that's what she chose. She's the host. She has the right. She chose not to get into politics, not only because we've been beating it up for the last 2 days. It's kind of get tired, right? But here's my promise. Okay, this coming Tuesday, I will host a space on Tuesday. As you guys know, I host a space every other Tuesday. Then every other Tuesday, I have a live stream with Kwanning, that we interview folks. Okay. So this coming Tuesday, November the 12th, starting at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I will go much deeper in these kind of questions that will connect the crypto space and politics. Okay. And so let me answer you real quick since you've asked the question. Okay. I'm going to start out with something and then I'm going to answer you, and then I'm looking at the clock, and Jen has about 20 minutes left, and we definitely got to let her go, only because she got to go somewhere. She got to pack up the kids. She got to pack up stuff. Or if you guys want,
I
okay.
mean, I will say I have a meeting, but I can have the space open, but I won't be able to.
Okay, great.
But it's a pretty important meeting, so I won't be able to,
Okay.
I can make you co-host, so you can at least.
Yeah. If you can make me co-host,
Yeah.
Jen. Okay. So here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. In about 20 minutes, Jen will mute herself. I will keep the space going. Because we've tested it before that if Jen drops off completely, like she leaves, the co-host will not work. Okay, I will drop off too. Okay, but if Jen leaves her phone on, even though she's not here, okay, but she leaves her phone on and leave as the host, then we can continue for another, however long, there are questions today. So I'm perfectly fine with that. Okay, so Kyenn, okay, again, I'm sorry if I butcher your name. If you want a thorough response, okay, then if you can wait for another 15 or 20 minutes. Let's cover other questions because I have a great response for you. Well, what Jen gave you is a great response, but I have an even more thorough response for that, but it will touch politics. But we're going to leave that, giving Jen the respect, once when she needs to go, which is in 20 minutes, I will answer it. So just hang tight. All right. So let's go to the next one. Dexter. Go ahead, Dexter.
Yo, Jenny. What you want to say is not really a question. It's more of a contribution to what you mentioned earlier about AI and bots and meme coins, right? Definitely AI will get better than your regular average bots, and it depends on I always say something, right? It's not the tool, it's the user, right? Even no matter how better AI gets, it depends on the people that are still using it, right? Me and you. So even if AI gets a whole lot better than this, which is going to eventually happen, it still depends on how people use it. And when it comes to meme coin, right? I think there's no utility that you want to give to a meme coin that's going to actually last to a certain extent. And most meme coins go back to zero. The ones that don't go back to zero, there are certain people that have bought up a huge chunk of the supply and just kept it somewhere. Or let's say they've burnt maybe a lot of the supply. That's why it's not coming down. Some people lost, some people make profit, right? But for a meme coin to just remain at a very high market cap, it's either the fact that somebody somewhere just bought out a huge part of the supply and kept somewhere, or the huge part of supply is not existing at all, right? And when it comes to crypto, what's here currently, like I said, everywhere is green. But eventually, I think there's going to be correction before everything starts going back up normally, right? So that's my own opinion, right? And I'm interested in hearing what every other person has to say. And if I have another question and contribution, I'll just raise up my hand.
Jen, before you take off, did you want to take a shot at that, or did you want me to take a shot at that? Oh yeah, obviously I have
Well,
a
I'll say,
response.
yeah,
Go
I'm
ahead.
going to just go quickly and just say, I think he nailed it when he said, I know what part you're going to cover, so I just want to talk about the AI part. You nailed it when you said it's like who's using it, right? How is it being used? And I think that's where we personally in Tetherball can kind of like do a little bit better on that part. But that is a tall order. But yeah, so I think that the way it's being utilized has a lot of room for growth still. So that was a good point. But I'll let you take the meme coin part about growth and ups and downs.
All right, so this will probably touch a little bit of Kyenn's question. Did he leave the room? No, did he drop down? Okay, so first and foremost, honestly, I've already tweeted this out that I believe that crypto is going to be deregulated. Okay, this part here, if you guys put a timestamp on this part, which is 10:15 Pacific Standard Time, what I'm about to say is extremely crucial and important. Okay, number one, under the Trump administration, they are going to deregulate crypto. So what that means is when they're going to deregulate crypto, crypto will continue to be the Wild Wild West as it had. And when it's the Wild Wild West, guess what? Everybody, if you do it right, should make a shit ton of money. Okay, that includes Elon Musk, that includes Donald Trump, that includes Peter Thiel was once heavily in Bitcoin, and it's the industry that it's very difficult for you to trace KYC and AML. So at least within the next 4 years, I believe two things will happen in the crypto space. Because it is a wild, wild west, there will be people who will be making a shit ton of money. And that's going to be including me and this community, Tetherball, if we stick close enough. And that's why I'm very cautious of adding who's who in our private WhatsApp group. Again, the list of people who came to me wanting to join our private executive group is probably longer than the number of people in our WhatsApp group right now. Okay. But here's why to those people who are asking to join the private executive group, and I'm going to be very straight right now. You're going to go through me. Okay. And I have a very high intuition. Okay. I don't want strange people to get into the private WhatsApp group that are, are crazy people. Let me just say that. Okay. So I'm very cautious to add who's who in the private WhatsApp group. Okay. So back to the question of where do I believe cryptocurrency is going to be within the next 4 years? I believe if you play the right card, you can make a shitload of money. This is your opportunity, a shitload of money. Okay. But there is also going to be a shitload of rug pulls. Okay. A shitload of rug pulls. Okay. Because when I use the terms Wild Wild West, you guys already know what that means. There are no laws, right? There's going to be people going to dump like a bunch of stuff. There's going to be lots of pumps. There's going to be, but I promise you that Tetherball will always be on the righteous side, which is the white knight. I don't care what the fuck people say, because here's why. And I'm going to explain it to you. Okay. There are waves of good and bad. Okay. So for example, you guys all remember how before Sam Bankman-Fried was booked, unless if Sam Bankman-Fried's, I don't know anything about that, but if Sam Bankman-Fried's parents are somehow connected with Trump, they may ask him for leniency and let Sam Bankman-Fried out sooner. This is the part that I'm talking about. Okay. So of course you guys all know I'm pro Kamala. Okay. So if I'm pro Kamala, I believe Kamala is a white knight, and I believe on the other side, which is Trump, is the black knight. When I say that, you guys perfectly understand what I'm saying, right? And I'm not the only one. Let me read to you guys a brief list of who were pro Kamala. I'm sorry, Jen, I'm getting into politics now, but like I said, it's difficult not to. But just real quick, because I wanted to answer this particular question. So pro Kamala, if you guys remember, are Mark Cuban, right? Huge name. Bill Gates is pro Kamala. And then you guys got to Google Anthony Scaramucci. Anthony Scaramucci is very well known in the crypto space. He's very pro crypto. Okay. So, and then there's Chris Larson. Chris Larson is the co-founder of Ripple, XRP. Okay. And then, not to mention, practically 99% of celebrities, top name celebrities, from Taylor Swift, Selena Gomez, to Cardi B, to every single Beyonce. Okay. When I say a ton of top name celebrities, that's what I meant. A-listers. Okay. But then here are also the pro-Trump side, also giant names. Okay. Top of the list, we all know Elon Musk. Okay. Peter Thiel. Okay. The Kardashian, which is Kim Kardashian now. You're going to see she's going to come back out. During the election, you saw how they were really quiet, especially after after P. Diddy was booked, because there are a lot of rumors that the Kardashians they either knew about it, okay? Because there was a scene that Khloe Kardashian was talking about. She came back from a party, and everybody put two and two together that party was P. Diddy because she was wearing white. Okay, and she came back. She said, "Man, I came back from this party, and oh my God, the things that I saw." Okay, so they put two and two together that Khloe Kardashian was at a P. Diddy party. Okay, so that means Mama Kardashian, which is Kris Jenner, she knows about those. So that's why ever since P. Diddy was booked, the Kardashian, if you look at the history, they got real quiet. Okay, so if you also remember in the history, during Trump's first term, Kim Kardashian was very close to Donald Trump. She got into the White House and she asked Trump to pardon a number of folks. Again, trust me, when I say things, you can Google it because you guys all know I know my stuff. I know my stuff. If I don't know, I'm going to say I don't know. But when I say I know my stuff. Okay. Then on the pro-Trump side, there are a lot of crypto people, right? Crypto people, if you read the data, you will see that together, from Coinbase to Gemini or all of the crypto people, let's call it the crypto people, okay? They have together funded a super PAC of about $140 million around there, okay, for Trump, pro-Trump. And it seems like it paid off for them, right? So this $140 million is huge beyond traditional corporation sector, from healthcare, from tech, from, I'm talking about sectors, okay? Bigger than any of those sectors who gave Trump money. That's the reason why Trump is going to most likely, I'm using safe words here, okay? Most likely, okay, will not only deregulate cryptocurrency, quote unquote, protect cryptocurrency, okay, and will probably help boost cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin. And I'm going to tell you what, okay, there's going to be a couple of things that are going to happen. Okay, before I say that, I'm going to mention one more names, okay? So you guys need to write all these down and need to start following what I'm saying, okay? Another name is called Senator Cynthia Lummis. Senator Cynthia Lummis, if you go to, Jen, can you search out her profile for me and help me put it in the Jumbotron?
I will help. Also, none of this is financial advice. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much. None of this is financial advice. Actually, I wanted to pin a specific tweet from Senator Cynthia Lummis, which is extremely important. Okay, hold on. Okay, so everybody look on the Jumbotron for me. Okay,
you found it already? Okay.
Yes, I did. So everybody look on the Jumbotron. That's Senator Cynthia Lummis. Okay, now if I'm going to coach you and if I'm going to educate you anything, okay, here is who and why Senator Cynthia Lummis is important. And Jen, I understand that you got to leave in about 6 minutes. So before you leave, I wanted to thank you for hosting us every Friday. And my apologies if I kind of shift things off, from non-politics here, because it's so difficult to answer these questions without tapping into politics. It won't be, but we will be here. I will disconnect. But anytime when you need to disconnect, like you got to go or your phone die or whatever, if you could just come back and we're still on, say, Jenny, my phone's dying, and then we all know, But if I finish before that happens, we will all disconnect, and then you will see that we disconnect, and then we're gone. Okay. So, but until then, thank you so much for hosting us. Is there anything that you wanted to say? Because I still have a lot of things to say about Senator Cynthia Lummis, which is very educational for the community, of course.
I just posted before that in the Nest something from June that I put up. It just says, sure, let's have legislators regulate AI. What could possibly go wrong about somebody in the government who couldn't get into their own website for years because they just didn't know what the login was and they just didn't bother. But then there was also my favorite one of that governor out in the Midwest who was saying that hackers got the stole the HTML, and even though anybody could publicly see it, and was literally going to bring them to jail and prosecute them, and they had this big press conference and nobody told him before he got on TV that he said, literally was saying that somebody stole something that's public. It was just, yeah. So those are the reasons why we really, politicians have no idea what's going on with this computer stuff. So yeah, I don't think they're going to be very good at regulating AI or crypto or anything that does anything other than what they're used to seeing every day, like the super traditional old school finance. Even then we have a hot mess, right? So I appreciate you. I will not let the battery run out, and everybody don't forget, same time next week.
Thank you, Jen. We greatly appreciate you. All right. Have a great Friday and weekend, Jen. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Jen. So now, grateful for Jen to keep us alive here. Okay. So let me go back to answer these questions. Okay. I'm giving you guys top-notch coaching, educational stuff right here. Okay. And you guys know me. When I speak, I know my stuff. If I don't know my stuff, I don't speak. So back to Senator Lummis. If you look on a Jumbotron, okay, Senator Cynthia Lummis tweeted that we are going to build a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Okay, first of all, let me explain to you guys who Senator Cynthia Lummis is. She's a hardcore Republican. So obviously she is, and there's nothing wrong with that. America is made of Democrats and Republicans and libertarians and independents, but majority is Democrats and Republicans. We have to respect each other's beliefs. Now, I was a registered independent until 2 nights ago. I attended a dinner And I'm now a registered Democrat. I'm proud to say that. Okay, I'm now a clearly registered Democrat, because I'm probably gonna get more involved with politics, but leaning more towards the Democrat, of course. Okay, so back to Senator Cynthia Lummis. Cynthia Lummis is known to be a Bitcoin maxi. When I'm saying a Bitcoin maxi, you guys all know what that means. That means is that she has a Bitcoin bag. How big it is, we don't know, and it's really none of anyone's prerogative. But here's where there is a conflict of interest. Okay, you guys know what a conflict of interest is, right? A conflict of interest meaning that while you have a bag of Bitcoin and you're also a high-ranking political politician, you. All right, have a great Friday and weekend, Jen. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Jen. So now, grateful for Jen to keep us alive here. Okay, so let me go back to answer these questions. Okay, I'm giving you guys top-notch coaching, educational stuff right here. Okay, and you guys know me. When I speak, I know my stuff. If I don't know my stuff, I don't speak. So back to Senator Lummis. If you look on a Jumbotron, okay, Senator Cynthia Lummis tweeted that we are going to build a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Okay, first of all, let me explain to you guys who Senator Cynthia Lummis is. She's a hardcore Republican. So obviously she is, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, America is made of Democrats and Republicans and libertarians and independents, but majority is Democrats and Republicans. We have to respect each other's beliefs. Now, I was a registered independent until 2 nights ago. I attended a dinner, and I'm now a registered Democrat. I'm proud to say that. Okay, I'm now a clearly registered Democrat, because I'm probably gonna get more involved with politics, but leaning more towards the Democrat, of course. Okay, so back to Senator Cynthia Lummis. Cynthia Lummis is known to be a Bitcoin maxi. When I'm saying a Bitcoin maxi, you guys all know what that means. That means is that she has a Bitcoin bag. How big it is, we don't know, and it's really none of anyone's prerogative. But here's where there is a conflict of interest. Okay, you guys know what a conflict of interest is, right? A conflict of interest meaning that while you have a bag of Bitcoin and you're also a high-ranking political politician, and that you're gonna steer laws and regulations your way to benefit your bag, right? That's called a conflict of interest. So during the next 4 years, at least, okay, that's gonna happen a lot, you know, for the crypto community. Donald Trump definitely are going to be pro of two things, of two crypto. Number one, his own. Okay, he launched a crypto, okay, of his own, like the days leading up to the election. Okay, I don't know the ticker of it. You know, I'm talking right now, so I will Google it whenever I'm done. Okay, so he's gonna pump his own bag. Okay, he's gonna pump his own bag. Okay, and then David, I'm gonna add you. Okay, he's gonna pump his own bag, and then number two, he's gonna make sure the crypto space going to give him. Okay, David, I'm sorry, I got to remove you again. You know, you got to be respectful when we add you to speakers. You got to mute yourself. Don't make any noises, especially when there's a speaker going on. Okay, so if I add you and if you make noise, I'm going to remove you immediately again. Okay, that's just common sense, respectful. Okay, so back to Trump. So Trump is going to make sure. Okay, now he has a lot of people. Even though if Trump doesn't know how a fucking wallet works, right? He doesn't care. There's going to be Ivanka, his daughter, is back in the game now. His two sons, Trump Jr. and this other guy, and even Barron Trump. Barron Trump is 18 years old now. Okay, Barron Trump is Melania's son, her only son with Trump. Now, what I've read about Barron Trump, you guys need to follow this little kid. Okay, he's only 18 years old. Okay, but he seems like he's pretty smart. He was the one who guided his father, Donald Trump, to get on podcasts such as for young men, like you know, young, like Gen Z or Gen Alpha. Okay, and it seems like it paid off, because Trump won this time by a wide margin because of men across the board, young, older men across the board. And based upon what I've read in the media, Barron Trump, which is Melania's son, has a lot of credit to steer his father towards that path by doing a lot more podcasts. Okay, so that's Barron Trump. You know, and then the other two sons, okay, Trump Jr. and I forgot his other son, steered Trump into choosing J.D. Vance as the VP. Okay, now as you all know, J.D. Vance is backed by Peter Thiel and Elon Musk. Okay, so there's a lot more politics behind it, but let me get back to cryptocurrency and Senator Cynthia Lummis. Okay, so Trump is going to make sure the crypto space is going to give him a ginormous bag of Bitcoin. Okay, so everybody's going to chip in. You know, Trump is probably going to say, okay, where's my wallet? How many Bitcoin do I have in there? As soon as that is done, we're probably going to see a pump. When is that going to happen? I have no fucking idea. Okay, I'm just telling you guys that these things highly possibly happen. Okay, because it's called market manipulation. Okay, and if we're gonna be in the wild wild west, you know, and it's gonna be deregulated, then this is the part that I also wanted to mention. Okay, remember how I mentioned about Sam Bankman-Fried? Remember how I mentioned, well, I didn't mention, but CZ Binance was also in prison for 4 months. He's out now, right? Sam Bankman-Fried is still in prison. So prior to all these people got booked, which happens to be under the Biden administration, right? What happened prior to that, right? So if Sam Bankman-Fried was booked, like, let's just say 2 or 3 years ago, I forgot. I mean, time goes by so fast in crypto. Let's just say 2 years ago. So it was in 2022 that Sam Bankman-Fried was booked, right? Bitcoin is going to turn 16 years old in January. So let's do a quick math, okay? So 16 minus 24, that's 14, minus 2, that's 12. So when Sam Bankman-Fried was booked, Bitcoin was already about 12 years old. You guys get my point. So my point is, the first 12 years, those were the wild, wild west. Wild west, everything goes. There was the ICO era, which is the initial coin offering. I mean, if you put out a project, you get people throwing money at you left and right. You'll be raising hundreds of millions of dollars, and everybody, you know, that's called a deregulation era. Wild, wild west, deregulation, right? And then it went from deregulation to regulated, or at least under Biden and then under Gary Gensler. Remember my tweet: Gary Gensler will be fired. Okay, so he's going to be gone by January 20th. Okay, so if you guys hate Gary Gensler, you should be jumping for joy because he's going to be gone on January 19th, before Trump comes into office. Okay, so if you guys also look on the jumbotron, that's my last tweet in terms of how I said, you know, cash, stock, crypto's going to go up, and you see how the emoji fire. I did say fire Gary Gensler. Okay, so I wrote this, I tweeted this on the night of the election, November 5th at 9:39 p.m. I forecasted this on the night. Of course, now is hindsight. It's been 3 days later. You guys could get all these things out there, but I tweeted on that night when no one talked about it. Okay, so now back to cryptocurrency and Trump. Okay, so during the Biden era, right? So it was regulated. So they took down FTX. They took down a bunch of projects. Just Google it, that went bankrupt. Okay, just Google it. Google crypto projects that went bankrupt. Okay, they were going after Tether. Okay, I believe the Tether people, Paolo and stuff like that, they're probably celebrating right now. Okay, you know, because we're back to the first 12 years of crypto being the Wild Wild West. And that's why I was saying, even though, okay, well, let me finish. Okay, so then during the 4 years of Biden, it became regulated under Gary Gensler. Regulated, things got tougher. Okay, they lock away bad guys to protect the little people. Okay, they're not doing anything wrong. Yes, it slowed down cryptocurrency. Okay, but they were protecting the little people. Okay, so FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried went to prison. You know, CZ Binance gave up his entire life of touching Binance ever again in exchange for 4 months of prison, because if he didn't do that, okay, he would probably be Sam Bankman-Fried's neighbor for the longest time. Okay, so you know, so anyway, now under the Trump era, we're gonna go back to being deregulated again. The word is deregulation. Okay, now deregulation, what that means is that as I've mentioned, at least the next 4 years, we're going to go back as the Wild Wild West. So when you're in the Wild Wild West, 2 things can happen. Only 2 things can happen. Okay, if you are smart, if you follow the right people, okay, you can make a shitload of money in crypto, a shitload of money. Okay, but if you're not smart, you follow the wrong people, you can also lose a shitload of money, because that's what happened the first 12 years of crypto. Lots of people made a lot of money. Lots of people got rugged and lost their entire net worth. Okay, but then here is going to happen again. Here's going to happen again, because this is through the history of politics. Okay, so let's just say 4 years later. Again, this is forecasting from me. Okay, because I've been doing a lot of reading lately, because there's a lot of new things that even I have to read. Okay, most likely, okay, and I'm using very conservative words here, most likely, okay, or I believe, okay, that even Donald Trump has everything: the White House, the Senate, the House, the Supreme Court, powerful people like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, everything, okay. I highly doubt it. Again, I'm using very conservative words, that they can change the Constitution of the United States. Okay, highly doubt it. Is it possible? I read it that it is. It's possible that they cannot change the Constitution. You guys have to understand this. Okay, the Constitution is like, let me give you a visual. The Constitution is like taking a nail and put it into the wall really hard. That big ginormous nail now is stuck on the wall forever. But what they can do is they can paint the nail. You guys understand when I said that? The normal color of a nail is bronze, black, correct? It's not black, but you guys get what my analogy is, right? But they can paint it red, they can paint it blue, okay? And they can put a bunch of little nails around the big nails and it will look different, okay? You get my analogy. So they cannot cancel the Constitution. Like the Constitution, for example, the First Amendment is freedom of speech, right? Like I can say anything I want, you guys can say anything I want, but they can add a law to it, like a law to it. Like in crypto, let's just say a level 2, an L2, right? Let's just say the Constitution is an L1. Like Ethereum is an L1, right? So you can never change an L1, correct? Like for example, Bitcoin's protocol is the original protocol. That's the Constitution. You can never change the protocol of Bitcoin, okay? But and you can never change the L1 of Ethereum, or you can never change the L1 of Solana per se, right? But for Ethereum and Solana, you can do an L2, right? So that's what they can do to the Constitution. It's like putting an L2 on Ethereum or an L2 to Solana. You guys get my point. Or like the Bitcoin protocol, they can add like different projects, like the Lightning Network. It's not an L2, but it's attached to the Bitcoin blockchain. You guys get my point. Okay, so back to this crypto thingy and deregulation. So the next 4 years, if my assumptions are correct, what that means is that Trump will be gone, because every single president can only last 4 years. That's based upon the Constitution, the original nail, the L1. Whenever I say that, you guys have to understand what that is, right? Then Trump has to be gone and a new election will happen. Most likely, this is my projection, that as soon as Donald Trump is sworn in, okay, he's going to go play golf. He's not going to run the country. The people who's going to be running the country is going to be J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, and Peter Thiel. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing against the law about that. I mean, we both know that Elon Musk and Peter Thiel were not born in America. They were born in South Africa. Okay? J.D. Vance was born here. So J.D. Vance is, I can say, is their puppet. Okay? So Elon Musk and Peter Thiel are the puppeteers, okay, of J.D. Vance. Okay? So 4 years from now, if Trump is still alive, okay, he can no longer, based upon the Constitution, okay, he can no longer run again because he already maximized his 2 terms. Then J.D. Vance is probably going to run again. And we don't know who the Democratic nominees is going to be. It could be Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. You're going to see him outspoken a lot. Follow Gavin Newsom. Again, if you want to be smart, if you want to be rich, you want to be healthy, you've got to be very knowledgeable of these things. Because these things, regardless if you are a U.S. citizen or not, America will continue to be the strongest country in the world. Okay, here's what I can give Donald Trump. You guys know that I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. But what I can give Donald Trump is that he did say, okay, and the guy's blunt, like me, I'm very blunt. He did say he loves America. So is he going to rip America apart? I don't know. I mean, the Democrats are talking about he's a friend with Putin. Putin hates America. But we also just heard that as soon as Trump won the election, Putin came out to say that he's not dropping the dollar. Did you guys see that? He's not dropping the dollar. Okay, but when Biden was president, okay, Putin and China President Xi are leading the pack called the BRICS, BRICS, which is a bunch of countries that are supposedly anti-Americans, right? Now Google it. Putin already came out saying, "Oh no, we're not dropping the dollar." Why do you think that is? Okay, that he's not dropping the dollar because Trump is president. Okay, so then back to Trump and the crypto. So Trump has 2 cryptocurrency. Okay, am I telling you guys to buy Trump's token? No. Okay, so don't come back at me saying, well, Jenny, remember in that space you're talking about the Trump token and you think it's going to be positive that Trump's, and then so I sold my house, I mortgaged my house, and I loaded up in the Trump token, and then it got rugged, and then I lost everything. So then I'm going to sue the fuck out of you. Well, you know what? This is recorded, and I just said that. Okay, don't come at me because it's not a financial advice. Okay, I'm here to educate the people, and it's hard for me or anyone to educate the people without naming some of these tokens. There's a difference between pumping a token and telling you guys to buy it versus educating you guys about different things. Okay, and even if I educate you guys, if I'm coaching you guys, don't take my words for it. Just take what I say and go Google it for yourself. Okay, go Google it for yourself. Okay, just so then back to the cryptocurrency space. Okay, so Elon Musk, okay, if you guys go to the TBALL account now. Go to the TBALL account, the TBALL Twitter account, okay? The TBALL Twitter account now follows 23 account, okay? Last night, I just followed Dogecoin. Now, once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a recommendation. I just wanted to keep an eye on Dogecoin. You guys, if you guys remember my history, I was a part of Dogecoin in late 2020 to 2021. okay, that was when I was a huge fan of Elon Musk, okay, because he was Doge father, okay. I do believe, this is speculation, remember the words that I'm using very cautiously. I believe, okay, that Elon Musk does have a ginormous bag of Dogecoin, okay. Now, he recently, if you Google Elon Musk, and now that he's a part of Donald Trump, he's going to lead a department for Donald Trump that he named it Doge. Each letter is an acronym for something, okay? So just Google it. Elon Musk, Doge, which would be D.O.E. and just Google Elon Musk, and you will know what those letters mean, okay? So when Elon does that, what does that tell us in cryptocurrency? That he's connecting everything he does with Tesla. Tesla's been going up since Donald Trump won, right? It's over $300 per share now. And then Elon is going to be a part of the Donald Trump. The reason why I'm stuttering because I'm googling. You guys can tell I can't do two things at one time because it's hard to concentrate. I'm googling that Doge word for you guys, and then that's why I'm starting to stuttering because I can't do two things at one time. If Jenna was here, she would help me Google, and then I can keep my mind on talking. Okay, so but anyway, Google it. So I wanted to start following Doge again. Okay, it's because there's going to be a lot of Doge, talking about Doge when Trump's going to be sworn in on January 20th. With Elon's going to tweet every day. Instead of tweeting out the long name that each letter stands for, he could say that, did you guys follow Doge? Now, that's interchangeably meaning that Doge has a definition now for politics under the Trump administration, leading by Elon Musk. You guys get what I'm saying? It's a department has to do with treasury or something like that, okay? But Doge is also mean Dogecoin, right? Okay, I found it. I found it. It stands for Department of Government Efficiency, okay, which aims to streamline federal spending by overseeing various agencies. So Elon Musk has emphasized the need to reduce the number of federal agencies, which he claims around 438 different agencies. So Elon Musk is trying to cut costs the same way as when he took over Twitter, okay, he literally slashed 90% of the people, and he has proven that Twitter did not die, okay? Twitter did not die after he slashed 90% of the people. But you guys know what that means is that unemployment is going to go up. Okay, you see? So if you guys understand the broad of the economy, the microeconomy and the macroeconomy, everything that I say is interconnected. And that's why you guys say, well, Jenny, keep telling stories. It's not stories. It's interconnected. I will explain why, because I understand these things so deeply that every time when I say something, I say, oh my God, it's interconnected. Here's what it means by interconnected. Hear me out, okay? Elon Musk, through Doge, which I just read to you guys, the Department of something, something, something. It's geared toward cutting costs, which Elon Musk has already proven before when he acquired Twitter, that he cut 90% of Twitter's old staff, and he only kept about 10% of the people. Now, if Elon Musk does the same thing to the federal government, which I just read it to you, that according to Elon, there are over 439 government agencies across America. If he's going to cut 90% of that, again, this is just speculation forecast here, okay? 90% of that, guess what number is going to go up? The unemployment number. The unemployment number is going to skyrocket. Now, why does that make sense? Why does that make sense? When the unemployment number is going to skyrocket, okay, that connects with what Elon already said, that the market is going to crash. Okay, the market's going to crash because you guys think about it. Okay, if there are 439 agencies and how many hundreds of thousands of federal people working for the federal government getting a salary, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, it is based upon those salaries for them to go out to buy food, go to restaurants, right? Go to clubbing, okay? That's what we call a spur, S-P-U-R, a spur in the economic of America, because we're spending, okay? That's good for the stock market, okay? That's good, okay? But even though it also causes inflation, okay? Now, I know I'm going to lose a lot of you guys. Again, I'm speaking from a micro, macro. This is my pro. That's why everything I say is connected, okay? So if you look at the tweet that I pinned on top, there are 4 screenshots, okay, of that tweet. One of the screenshot, I did screenshot. It says Elon Musk predicts hardship, economic turmoil, and a stock market crash. I just gave you guys part of the answer. And it's connected to this department called Doge, okay? So I'm going to pause there. As you can see, there's just a lot of things going on. And if you totally understand this, you can put 2 and 2 together. That's why there are smart people, there are dumb people. So anyway, back to cryptocurrency. That's the reason why the TBALL account just follow Doge. That doesn't mean I'm recommending Doge, okay? We're just following it because we want to see what's going on. Okay, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. The reason why I'm still very cautious on Doge, okay, is because Doge has unlimited supply. Unlimited supply. So if Doge were to, if you take the total supply of Doge now and you multiply it by its all-time high, which was, I know this number, 73 cents, okay? Doge market cap will surpass Bitcoin for sure. It will be in the trillions of dollars. It will be the largest GDP on its own, larger than any country, larger than America, okay? So could that be possible? Now, under a regulated, like, everything, not everything should be regulated, somewhat regulated. To me, I think that that's impossible. Okay, it's impossible. But under a Wild Wild West, when I use the terms Wild Wild West, you guys know what all that means. Anything can go. Anything can go. Anything can go. Okay, so the thing is that's why I'm keeping an eye on it. That does not mean that I'm recommending it. If anybody comes back to me and say, Jenny recommended Doge, well, fuck you, because this is recorded and I'm going to keep a copy of it. Okay, and I'm going to keep a copy of it because I say it more than one time that I'm here to educate, inform the public. I'm not giving out financial advice for anybody to buy anything. Okay, so back to cryptocurrency again. Okay, got to take myself back to cryptocurrency and Senator Cynthia Lummis. Okay, Senator Cynthia Lummis is definitely a Bitcoiner. She has a Bitcoin bag. We don't know how much is it in there. She's so Bitcoin pro that she's going to make everything for the benefit of Bitcoin. So that means that she's helping her own bag. You guys, that's why I said, a conflict of interest, right? But under a deregulation time, no one gives a fuck about a conflict of interest. Okay, everything goes. Everything goes. Okay, that's why if you follow me on my Instagram, okay, my Instagram, I put different messages everywhere, and it's only either Twitter or Instagram. I did post 2 posts on my Instagram, and in the description section, I did say, now is the time, if you are a pro-Kamala, like me, okay, it's not the time for you to sit around and start crying and bringing up, say, oh my God, Trump cheated. Don't. I'm not wasting my time. Do you guys see me tweet? It's done and over, okay? Before the election, I retweeted a lot of shit, okay? Now that the election is over and Trump won such a wide margin, and even if I see tweets from the left, which is the Democrats, saying that Trump cheated, I mean, there's a hashtag trending that Trump cheated, all of these machines, Putin probably helped, Elon, rigged the system. Who gives a fuck anymore? Because Trump won such a wide margin with the popular vote. It's not as narrow as Biden won from Trump. Biden won from Trump was so narrow that the Trump side can claim that Biden cheated. And it could be possible, okay? But not when you win with such a wide margin that even if you crack down all of these cheaters, the broken machine, the ballots that are not counted, it's still, Trump already ran so far, okay? So I'm not wasting time on that. So you got to keep your energy and what you believe going forward. So the next 4 years, if you are a part of me and TBALL, that's where my mind's going to be. Build your fucking net worth. Build how much rich as you can, because through this election, we all know that you can literally, money is power, and you can literally take money and buy our government. It's all highly possible. Okay, so so cryptocurrency is a go. Keep an eye on Bitcoin. Okay, because at the end of the day, it seems like where can Bitcoin go? I have no freaking idea. It's not financial advice. Can they crash Bitcoin before it goes to the moon? Possibly, because again, in the world of deregulation, okay, anything goes. Okay, anything goes. Okay, so and they're gonna take advantage of that. Again, Elon has already said this many times. Okay, that that he wants to be the first trillionaire, in the world. Okay, so trust me when I'm saying this. Okay, is that the smart folks, the names that I've read to you guys that are pro-Kamala, like Mark Cuban, Bill Gates, Chris Larson of Ripple XRP, myself, Anthony Scaramucci, we're going to use the term, if you can't beat them, join them. You guys heard that term, right? If you can't beat them, join them. Now, I'm going to caution here. You got to pick and choose your battle, okay? When you can't beat them, join them. That doesn't mean you're going to go out and do a bunch of lawful things that, like, for example, like for me, like, I'm never going to be higher up, like, for example, Mark Cuban. I doubt it, even though Mark Cuban is super powerful, okay? He's not going to do anything that's illegal, because you know why? Okay? 4 years from now, what happens if Trump can't run again? J.D. Vance going to run, but what happens if he loses? Because you got to keep in mind, okay, the Democrats are totally pissed off now. They're totally pissed off. If you guys remember, the Democrats were totally pissed off in 2016 when Hillary lost. So when you piss off enough, guess what happened? You're going to make things happen. Okay. So 2016, Democrats and Hillary lost. They were so pissed off that they took it back from Trump in 2020. Okay. Listen to what I'm saying. Okay. Then 2020, Trump was totally pissed off, right? He was totally pissed off. So he took it back from Kamala and the Democrats just 3 nights ago. 3 nights ago. This is a war, people. Okay. And then now the Democrats and Kamala are totally pissed off again. So if they're totally pissed off, there's a high chance that they will take control again 4 years from now. So if they're going to take control again 4 years from now, it's probably going to go back to regulation. We're going to go from deregulation, regulation, deregulation, regulation, right? So then if you're going to do some shit that if you're not power enough to get a pardon, you're going to rot in jail during the years that it's going to be regulated. You guys get my point? Because it has already been proven. CZ went to prison. He had to give up his life of being a part of Binance to pay off that 4 months instead of maybe 4 years or whatever the case may be. Ronald, I saw you. I'm going to finish what I wanted to share and then I'll bring you up. So I'm going to conclude with one thing, okay? Be smart. Choose your battles. I and Mark Cuban, for sure, okay, will always be a white knight, even though, okay, we're going to choose our battles and we're going to blend in because the next 4 years, if it's the Wild Wild West, anybody can make all sorts of money, build your net worth, and I'm on both crypto and the stock market as well, okay? If Elon Musk is going to, and his gang is not, well, let's not call gang, that's kind of disrespectful. If Elon Musk and his team are planning to crash the stock market, you better bet your life on it that I have cash to buy in. At the end of the day, that's how the wealthy elites stay wealthy and become elites, is they do everything on the right side. They don't FOMO, they don't YOLO, they don't follow the stupid herd. Okay? So, don't listen to what people say, see what they do. Okay? So the final thing, which is an unfortunate that I'm going to share, and I'm going to put this space on my YouTube. Okay? Because I save a copy of everything good on my YouTube. I don't care if there's viewers on it or whatever. My YouTube, Jenny Q Talk, is where I save all of the audios and stuff like that. I just save it because, as you guys know, on Twitter, it disappears. Okay? And on Instagram doesn't allow videos long enough for me to keep it on my Instagram. So that's why I'm going to utilize my YouTube. This space here is going to be on my YouTube. Okay? So here's the final thing I'm going to say, and then Ronald, I'm going to bring you up. Okay? Is that it is an unfortunate. And here's what I mean by being an unfortunate. Is that I know the crypto space are cheering right now. Okay? They're going to cheer. They're going to say, oh, fuck Mark Cuban. Fuck Bill Gates. Fuck Jenny Ta. Okay? Fuck Anthony Scaramucci. Fuck Chris Larson. Fuck all of the celebrities that voted for Kamala. Okay? You guys are all fucked. Okay? We control crypto. Crypto is going to moon so far based upon what I share. It seems like it, right? But here's the thing, though. Think about this. These people, like, for example, Brian Armstrong, he just got married, right? He married to, I believe she's Chinese. Eventually, Brian and his wife, they're going to have a family. And lo and behold, I'm pretty sure they're going to have a daughter somewhere along the line. Okay? They're wealthy. And of course, they gave Trump a lot of money. So whatever they do, I'm sure he can ask for a pardon. Anything is connected to Trump now. People are going to go so crazy wild because at the end of the day, they know that they can ask a pardon from Trump. Okay? So, but then how about Brian Armstrong's future kids? His daughter, let's just say, right? So whatever Trump and the Trump team is going to put in place, as you guys all know, it's going to be one of the worst era for women. It's going to take women back to the 50s and 60s. So all of these pro-crypto people, that's why I tweeted that I said, it's so sad that the crypto people are cheering that crypto is going to be this and that, and it's going to be the greatest in the world, okay? In exchange for the future of your daughters and granddaughters. That's what they exchange it with. That's what they exchange it with, if you really think about it. Okay? So every time when I think like that, every time when I make money in crypto, oh, you better bet your life on it that I'm going to make money in crypto. There are two things that go through my head. Number one, great, Jenny, that you're building your net worth during a deregulation era. You're going to do it as much as you can legally because you don't want once when regulation come back and Jenny's going to sit in jail, right? So I'm not that stupid. Okay? I'm going to pick and choose my battle. Okay? But then number two, every time when I make money in crypto, from now on, I'm going to think about the women and the daughters of my friends who are also pro-crypto. I'm going to think about them. And I'm going to think about the daughters of those daughters, which are going to be the grandchildren of my friends who are pro-crypto. So, so this world, as you can see, is very cool. Very, very cool. And I'm going to pause there. Ronald, I'm going to bring you up. I'm going to remind everybody one final time, okay? This is the tetherball community. We all need to respect each other's opinions and voices. You need to be cordial when you come up to speaker. And especially, this is the tetherball community. Anyone, when I add to the speaker, if you're not respectful and you're not cordial, I will not entertain you and I will remove you immediately, okay? Because I have the power to do that. So don't call me out as being rude or whatever the case may be. This is the tetherball community. We have the right to have our own rules, and I can do that, okay? So, Ronald, I'm going to bring you up. And Let Freedom Ring, that name scares me, but I'm still going to bring you up, okay? And Ismail, Adam, I'm going to bring you up. But here's what I'm going to do, because I'm the only one who's taking care of everything. Jen is the host, but she is offline right now. I'm only going to bring you up one at a time, okay? So not just in case if all of you guys are bad, you guys are not going to gang at me, okay? So Ronald, I'm going to bring you up first. Then once Ronald is done, then Let Freire, I'm going to add you. So Ronald, there you go, Ronald. You are getting added. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Ronald.
Much for bringing me up. Believe it or not, you're the first one on a space that has actually seen my hand go up so that I can get on the mic. Thank you so much. And yes, I can respect this because that is one of my major principles. That is one of the things that irritates the heck out of me on these spaces is they don't respect you enough to bring you up to a mic when you ask for one. And they listen to all these people that are just complaining. I sit back and I try to get up there. You've heard the expression, if you don't speak up, you can't get anything done. And if you don't speak up, you have no right to bitch about what's happening. This is one of the major problems with spaces. They're like high school students. When you were back in high school, everybody had their own clique. Okay, you need to get outside of that box once in a while so you can actually get solutions to the questions that the cliques are asking. I have a lot of answers. I'm 69 years old. I've seen a lot. I've heard a lot. I've experienced a lot. And I agree with what you say. I do have a couple of things to bring up. Everybody's on these. Let me go back to something that you said. Us married people, us married men that are married to women, we stand behind women. That's how you get our votes. You're our wives. The husband will not listen to his wife and protect his wife and give his wife what she needs the most and what she wants the most. Human rights are very special in this country. That's what we're built on. There's a thing in California going on now. I've heard about 3 things that they're trying to pass in the Senate, and it's taking more of the rights for the parents away from them. First off, I want to go on to this, break it down for you. The first thing that came about is you cannot chastise your child. The second thing that came about is you cannot scold your child. Now they're going into this lesbian and gay thing, and they're trying to brainwash your children into thinking that the male is not a male, is a female, and the female is not a female, she's a male, and they're trying to get it. They are putting it in there that if you are a child and you are not being taught that you have the option to be either or, and your parents aren't allowing you to do this, then you should call in, complain, and we will take you from that parent, regardless of what that parent is teaching, how well that parent is off financially, how well that parent has supported you in every other manner. It's just we, the people, don't believe it being forced on us. I have nothing against gays or lesbians. Let me tell you, every human being on this earth has the right, the special right, to be as they want to be, but they don't have to be brainwashed into thinking they're something they're not. We as individuals speak as individuals and have the rights as individuals, no matter of your race, creed, color, sexual orientation, marital status, anything. We all have that right. God gave us life. He's the only one that gives it. He's the only one that can allow it to be taken. And you all know, you're adults. You know what sex is. You've had sex. You've had babies, and you've had sex and didn't have babies. And the reason why that is God gives your seed life. No one else. And we all that he gave it to us for a reason. My reason is for speaking out. And I'm trying to speak out to people. And our solution is so easy as far as this election fraud goes. We've been putting chips in dogs and cats for years in our pets. If they get lost, we know where they are. If they get stolen, they know where they are. Put a damn chip in every one of the ballots, whether be it a mail-in ballot, be it a ballot for early voting, be it a day of election voting. Put a chip in it and then make it an AI responsibility to track that ballot and to verify who's making that ballot. That's the truth.
Okay, Ron. Okay,
Yeah.
Ron. Yes, my apologies to intervene here. We really don't want to talk too much about politics here. This is a we can add a little bit politics, but the main topic for today's space, it has to do with cryptocurrency. Everybody, we've been hearing enough about politics within the last couple of days. This is the tetherball community. We are a cryptocurrency. So we appreciate your point of view. You're welcome to stick around, Ron. But at the end of the day, I don't want to lose half of the people because I think a lot of the people now are kind of sick and tired, including myself. Just hear straight politics because what's done is done. We just got to move forward. In terms of what you just shared, it depends on who we ask. There are different viewpoints and different opinions, and I don't think I have enough speakers today to dispute your claims and ask a co-host, which I'm actually the host now because Jen is she's the host, but she stepped out for a second. She's just leaving me to host right now. I I do know, but I don't want to get into that topic, especially not in this particular space. So you're welcome to stick around, and if you wanted to come up with any other topics or something that is connected with cryptocurrency, you're welcome to raise your hand again. But I apologize, for me to just kind of cut you off right there because we were losing people because this is not the space for them to come in for that if that's fine with you. So I'm gonna bring Let Freedom Ring up and let's see what Let Freedom Ring has to say. And Giant Judge, if you have a question too, just let me know too as well. Okay. Thank you, Ronald. So you're welcome to stick around. Let Freedom Ring, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Jenny, for bringing me up. My question is directly related to crypto. I'm kind of novice getting into crypto. I've seen your guys' community a couple times. I've had a couple friends talk about it. It's nothing but good things, really. But again, I'm a novice. I have a limited knowledge of when it comes to crypto, and I was thinking about buying Bitcoin and Veritasium if I could even get a hold of it, and some Theta. But seeing how everything's been, and seeing how I'm a macro researcher, I have a question because I lack the knowledge on this. What would happen, in your opinion, if something catastrophic were to come out and they were to, let's say, arrest Trump or prevent Trump's presidency from happening? What would happen to crypto, Tether, Bitcoin, all that, in your opinion?
Okay, so I've read about this too, and again, I'm gonna put a disclaimer for myself, because those within the tetherball community know me very well, but there are 300 people in the room, and most people they probably don't know me. So I'm gonna put a disclaimer for myself, and for the tetherball community, my apologies if I sound repetitive, but you guys do understand my heart that I'm very cautious. So if you guys hear me keep on repeating this, is because the room has a lot of people. Okay, and my disclaimer is that I'm very, very good at a lot of things. And I make it known that I'm very, very good. And this question from Let Freedom Ring is a part of that I'm very, very good. Okay. But there's going to be sectors that I'm not very, very good. Okay. Which politics, I believe that I'm good, but I'm not very, very good. So the politics side, I would give myself maybe now, it was 60, 70. Now I can say 70 to 80%. So what that means is I still have a 20% error. Okay. So don't take my words for it. Whatever you hear from me that has to do with politics, I've already said it out loud. There could be a 20% error. Okay, so when it comes to finance, crypto, and stuff like that, I'm like over 90th percentile, 99% even, but not politics. So with that disclaimer in mind, I'm going to answer Let Freedom Ring's question right now. I know, Let Freedom Ring, within the next 2.5 months, okay, Trump is due to be sworn in on January 20th. Okay, what I do know behind the scenes from the Democrats is they're going to utilize this next 2.5 months to the maximum of their abilities. Of course, they're not going to do anything lawless, okay? Because that's not the Democrats, okay? So if you also follow my Instagram, it's also on my latest 2 posts that I say if only Democrats are more of an asshole, okay, then who knows, that might be better, because most Democrats, because they're highly educated, that's why they're conservative, okay? When you're highly educated, you have a beautiful family and you know so much about the law that you tend not to be an asshole because you don't want to go to prison because you know too much. And you guys know that it's usually the people who are not educated because they don't know anything. That's why they're riskier and they're more of an asshole. Okay. So back to the Democrats is that one of the powers that a sitting president can do is called executive orders. Executive orders, which Trump did a lot in his first term. What is an executive order? An executive order is you don't need anybody's approval. You're the president. But an executive order can be overturned in the next in the next presidency. Like whatever executive orders that Trump did in his first term, I believe some of it when Biden came in, he overturned, because without going through Congress to get the righteous approval of the voting, it doesn't become law. Okay, so what I just shared with you, check on it. I'm 80% certain. So back to Let Freedom Ring's question. Okay, even though the Democrats are going to do whatever they can, like for example, in New York, Attorney General Letitia James, she hates Trump and Trump hates her. Okay, she knows that she's going to be gone with that position because an attorney general does not have a power of the sitting president. Okay, so if they hate each other, Trump is going to get revenge. So anyone that caused him with the felons or book him or all the judges, he's going to go after them hard. That's called revenge. Okay, can the Democrats not do something that Trump cannot be president? Highly unlikely.
Well, I thought that too until I found this out. And
okay, go ahead. Let me know. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think that you're correct with almost everything that you were saying, and I thought the exact same way. anything, but I'm a macro researcher, and I found this out, and I think it's very important for everyone in crypto to understand this, and I'm trying to search for an answer for this. So in 2022 to 2023, a law was passed, and it was tucked into an Electoral Count Reform Act. And if you go to my profile, my name is LetFreedomRing. I have the American flag with the American eagle face on it. It's the last thing that I posted, and so you can see it, and you can read it with your own eyes straight from the Library of Congress, from the United States government website. It says S.4573 Electoral Count Reform and Presidential Transition Improvement Act of 2022. What this does is, if you read it in its entirety, and I've done it about 4 times, when you get down to a certain part, and I'll read it to you verbatim, so it's not it's not any of my words, it's what it says. It says, in general, any action brought by the aggregative candidate for president of the United States or vice president that may arise under the constitutional laws of the United States that will respect the issuance of a certification required under Section A and 1, the transmission of such certification under Section B shall be the following rules. And here it is. The venue shall be a federal district court in the federal district of the state capital. And the judge panel should consist of 3 judges, 2 circuit judges, and 1 federal judge. Why is this important? Because prior to this legislation being signed in 2023 by Joe Biden, and it's not an executive order. It was passed in the Senate, and then it went to the House, and it was passed in the House, and Joe Biden signed it into law. So it is law. It's not an executive order. What this does is they have until December 17th to file any grievance of voter fraud. And you would say to yourself, Democrats don't do that, except for this time they actually did. If you go to the Denver Post, it says that, and Denver is controlled by Democrats. Colorado is controlled by Democrats. Colorado never does any investigations into ballot fraud. Democrats never do this, but yet they are launching the biggest investigation into voter fraud in Denver, Colorado. And they said that ballots don't match and a lot of things don't match. And they're going to potentially file a grievance against the 2024 election results. Again, they have till December 17th to do this. And if anyone told me, because I get in this argument a lot, people told me because Kamala Harris conceded that that's it, that's game over. No, that used to be the law until this law went into law. So prior to 2022, yes, that was true. That's why Trump never conceded in the 2020 election. However, though, she conceded and everything was just fine, and all the Trump supporters are euphoric, and all the cryptocurrency guys are euphoric right now too. However, though, if they do this and they file this, Judge Juan Merchan, the Supreme Court Justice in New York and Manhattan, hasn't dropped his case against Trump yet, even though Merrick Garland has. Merrick Garland from the DOJ dropped all his charges, but Merrick Garland did it. Merrick Garland still has his sentencing date. If you go look up on the court docket number, it's still up there in the Supreme Court of New York. He is still being sentenced on November 26th. If they do this, if they file this grievance, it throws the entire election into question, on hold, but they will expedite the process. But it says, if you read it, that the 3-judge panel will decide. And then if Trump doesn't like that, or whoever doesn't like that, you have to either be a president or vice president candidate to oppose it, to bill it. It goes up to the state Supreme Court. So it'll go up to the Colorado Supreme Court. And if Trump doesn't like that outcome, he can file another grievance or an appeal, and it'll go up to the Supreme Court of the United States of America, the last Supreme Court. But that process, even though it's expedited, will take weeks. And in that time frame, it pushes us back between November 26th and between December 17th. In that time, he technically wouldn't be president or even a presidential nominee. He wouldn't even be selected for it if it was put into question. And then they could arrest him, and then they could not certify the election on January 6th with the new Congress on January 3rd. And I'm trying to tell people this. What would happen if that scenario played out? What would happen to crypto? Because I'm about ready to throw 20 grand into crypto. And I want to know this because I don't know enough about crypto. I know enough to get me in trouble about crypto, but I don't know enough to get me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let Freedom Ring. I follow you. I also put you on notification. I did add that tweet of yours, on our Jumbotron there. I highly recommend you. You sound like a high scholar researcher. I respect those people. So I know you have a smaller account, but you should have a lot more followers. But here are my thoughts. You've taught me a lot of things. So you see, I don't mind saying it publicly that I've learned things from people because I'm not a jack, of all trades, right? So you're absolutely correct. And I find it funny, which now what you've just shared backs what I've been thinking about the cryptocurrency since Trump won. So we all know that as soon as Trump won, Bitcoin broke an all-time high. Bitcoin has been lingering at around 74,000 since it broke that mark in March of this year. Then it went down, went up, went down, went up. It never broke 73 to 74,000. If you guys are in the crypto space, you guys know exactly what I'm saying. And you guys know that I'm very good at these things, okay? But it did. As soon as Trump won, Bitcoin broke. I believe it went to 77,000 this morning. So remember, 77,000 is the all-time high now. All-time high. All-time high meaning that it never has gone up there before. Okay? So back to Let Freedom Rings, what he just shared. And it was great information because he backed it up with substance and with, facts. Okay? Then I questioned myself. Wow. The crypto space with Trump, they literally have everything. Why isn't Bitcoin over 100,000 yet? And that's not to mention, Tether printed more Tether. I believe within matters of days, it print a couple $1 billion. And we all know when Tether prints, Bitcoin goes up because they use the fake money to buy Bitcoin. Okay, I don't care what people out there saying, but I'm going to say that because I have enough evidence to prove that for every tether there isn't a dollar in the bank. Okay, so for them to have printed more tether, that means they just print it out of thin air and they just use it to buy Bitcoin. So we have tether buying Bitcoin, we have BlackRock buying Bitcoin, we have everybody FOMOing and YOLOing, as you just heard. Let Freedom Ring. He was about to take $20,000 and dump it into Bitcoin. You have pro-Trump, pro-Elon, pro-Cynthia Lummis. Everybody, it's like everybody is into Bitcoin, right? So why does it stop? To me, I said that Bitcoin should be at least over $100,000 now. So now I've been questioning that the last couple of days because it does not make sense to me. It doesn't make sense, but it does make sense now with what Let Freedom Ring. Okay, so the elitism, the elites people. Okay, who are the elites? The elites are the core insider, like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Donald Trump. Okay, did you guys know that a sitting president, they know all of the secrets of America? There's a movie about that. Google it. It's based upon a true story. So America has a lot of secrets. Good secrets, bad secrets, right? So as a sitting president, that's why we all see on January 20th, if Don, and I'm going to get to you, Let Freedom Ring, I'm going to get to you. So you know how on January 20th, like Obama sworn in, Biden sworn in, everybody, Trump sworn in, when you become president, you have to put your hand on the Bible that you're supposed to protect the Constitution, you're supposed to protect America, blah, 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 unless if you sell out your country, blah, 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 right? So as soon as you're sworn in, the sitting president get to read all of these stuff. Like, like if we lie, and I'm sure we lie, if we did this, did that, I mean, it's crazy. That's why everybody wants to be the president of the United States, right? Because it's the ultimate power, right? The good and the bad and the ugly. So here's my thing, Let Freedom Ring. I've heard you, right? The thing about the law, even though I'm not a lawyer, but I do know enough about the law, and and I want us to say one thing, and I'm gonna put this into the comment section of our Twitter space, okay? Is that there's this guy. I'm gonna put this in the section, okay? This guy was mistakenly imprisoned for 10 years. Listen to this story, ladies and gentlemen. For 10 years, he's African American, but he spent most of his time in the library studying law. As a result, he not only proved his innocence, after which he became a lawyer. He came out, he became a lawyer, and he imprisoned the judge who convicted him. Could you believe that? So the point of the matter is, and I'm going to put this under the bubble so you guys can see what I'm talking about, and you guys know whenever I bring something up, it's a truth and a fact, right? And that's my point, is that if there's a will, there's a way, okay? I'm going to say read this, okay? So I just put it in the comment section, and I'm going to put it in the Jumbotron right now so you guys can, and that's TBALL, right? We're here to educate, we're here to coach and teach the public, okay? So back to Let Freedom Ring. Here's my thought, Freedom Ring. You know the law, because I know you're a researcher. It can be kind of crazy. So what I'm thinking, that the Republicans, they're also smart now. They have a lot of smart people with a lot of money. The one thing I know for a fact that the lawyers can do is what it's called kick the can down the road. Meaning that they have the right to ask for an extension for more time. That's what it's called, kicking the can down the road. So unless the Democrats, and you probably know about this more than I do, Let Freedom Ring, unless if the Democrats have something else up their sleeves that they know it's concrete, okay? But then if I were to be on the Donald Trump side, and if I'm one of the attorneys, I'm going to say fine. That's why the Democrats within the next 2.5 months is a very short time frame that I believe that they could do anything, right? Because on the right, which is Trump's side and his tons of attorneys, they're going to say fine. Okay, fine. We need time to review everything that you guys are sending us. So we need an extension for 60 days. And they're going to keep on extending it because I believe there are laws that offers extension for you to have time to review all of the evidence from the opposing team. So if they extend it enough, then there is no legitimate reason to not sworn in Donald Trump on January 20th. And then, as you know, as soon as Trump is sworn in, he has the ultimate power. Of course, he's going to pardon himself. Everything that the Democrats are going after him, it's all going to be wiped clean, right? Well, not wiped clean. His record's still going to show that he's a felon. He raped women and blah, 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 blah. But that's what I think. What do you think, Let Freedom Ring? What do you think about that?
Honestly, what I see happening, and I hope I'm wrong about this, I see that them utilizing this, especially now that Georgia is coming out and saying that there was Russian bomb threats on 2 different patrol sites in Georgia. And they're saying that Michigan was affected, and they're saying that Georgia was affected, Colorado was affected, and possibly even North Carolina was affected with this. If this is the route that they're going to take, and they do file a grievance, and if they do arrest Donald Trump before Christmas, what will happen is, I think that the desired effect that what they want, and I'm someone who's not a Republican. I used to be a Democrat, born and raised in California, and I am now an independent. I try to stay logical about all these things, especially when it comes to investments. I try to remove all my emotions out of this, but I think what they're trying to do is create the desired effect of rage out of the Trump supporters going forward before January 6th. And the reason why is because on January 3rd, the new Congress is formed, and it looks like they will have enough support, especially with 4 Republican rhinos, to not certify the election on January 6th. If they declare Trump an insurrectionist with the Trump supporters being enraged, I think what they'll do is they'll just arrest him and they'll put him in jail. And they will, even if it's constitutional or unconstitutional, they'll take their chances with it. And then you'll see all hell break loose for the next couple of months. And I think that they're that desperate. I don't think that we're just dealing with corrupt Democrats and corrupt Republicans. I think it's kind of bigger than that, if I'm being honest. I think there's corrupt bankers. I think there's corrupt billionaires involved in this too. And under the 14th Amendment, if you are declared a true insurrectionist, you cannot sit as president. So how would you create a true insurrectionist? You would have to create a true insurrection, and you would only do that by literally enraging half the country. And you can do that by arresting Donald Trump and sending him to Rikers Island, and then not certify an election. Because what would happen is everybody in the crypto space and everybody who's a Trump supporter and all the Republicans that are celebrating right now with euphoria, it would instantly go away, and it would turn to rage. And then they would claim, see, look at the insurrection. I think that's probably their plan. I hope I'm wrong, but that's why I'm here, trying to have a reasonable, well-developed conversation with people that are like-minded.
Wow. I mean, definitely I'm learning a lot from you, Let Freedom Ring. I do have a couple questions, of course, because obviously I think you know a lot more than I do for this particular thing. If that were to happen, exactly what you were just sharing, Let Freedom Ring, who's going to be the president?
Well, if it's an insurrection, martial law would be declared, and that means we'd have a postponed election. And it means that Joe Biden would still remain president unless he was removed. If he was removed from office due to his cognitive decline or his inability to lead the nation, I think that you might even see Democrats invoke the 25th Amendment. The 25th Amendment states that you can remove a sitting president if there's cognitive decline where he cannot function his abilities and becomes a national security threat. So if there is a quote unquote insurrection or quote unquote martial law, then if he can't give functioning orders, then they would determine him to be unfit to lead due to a national security threat. And then they would have legal right under the 25th Amendment to remove him. And then that means Kamala, by force, would be the president.
Holy shit. Seriously. Oh, damn. I think that's like the best thing I've ever heard. I mean, America is going to be the Wild Wild West regardless, right? I mean, so if that is the case, well, then obviously, you know, that just said right there that cash is king right now. So you're smart if you haven't. I mean, you came in and you asked me what would happen to crypto if this happened. Of course, it's going to crash. How and even the stock market's going to crash. Okay, so how can this news be any good for anything? So I think what you've just shared, Let Freedom Ring, not only one, you've taught me a lot of things, and I appreciate that. I love learning things from smart people. Okay, number two is that it makes a lot of sense. Even I haven't had time to fact check you and everything, but from what you're sharing, I know it makes sense, and I know 99% of what you're saying is accurate. So if you know, I believe that the Democrats now saying that, okay, so if they're just gonna sit back and just let everything ride out, like again, I was saying how Democrats are always nicer, right? They should be more of an asshole, right? Maybe now they're gonna be assholes. If that's the case, I'm for it. You know, this is the first time I'm hearing it, obviously, you know, so it's probably hidden and it's not being talked about, you know, but because you're a researcher and this is fascinating that you're digging things up, you're sharing this with us, it makes a lot of sense. And could the Biden administration do this? Absolutely. But I do have a question, Let Freedom Ring. You're mentioning about January 6th when Congress is supposed to be sworn in. So here's my question. Based upon the votes that I've seen so far 3 nights ago, didn't the Democrats lose everything? The Senate, the House, everything? So if Congress were to be sworn in, wouldn't there be more pro-Republicans? So therefore, they would be pro-Trump? So can you explain that?
That is absolutely true, except for the new Congress will be formed on January 3rd. Certification of the presidential election will be on January 6th. But even if you have Republicans that won, the Republicans won the Senate, and it looks like they're going to win the House, but barely they're going to win the House. Here's the caveat to this, and this is what I've been thinking for a while now. Trump has said that he's going to release the Jeffrey Epstein files and the P. Diddy files and the JFK files and yada, yada, yada. There is some of those neocons. There's some of the corrupt Republicans that are on that list. And they're saying that they support Trump and this and that. They have the greatest incentive in their entire lives to vote against Trump. And I think we will witness that happening. I think you'll see a lot of deep state, Jeffrey Epstein, P. Diddy list, Ghislaine Maxwell list Republicans that are in Congress that will flip in order to protect their reputation. And so how many will they need? Well, the House is so close right now that it's almost 50-50. And so, and you only need to win by 51% to declare Trump a insurrectionist. You don't need 2/3. You only need 51%. And so, and would they certify the election on the 7th if they declare him an insurrectionist because he's arrested and in Rikers and his Trump supporters are rioting? I don't know. I think it is fair to say that that right there in itself is a reasonable conversation to be had right now.
Okay. Final question. I brought up Peg and I brought up She-Base. So Peg's gonna go first and then She-Base. But I have a question for Let Freedom Ring. Here's my question about the Epstein, all of the P. Diddy list. For a fact, I know, and I am using the word fact. Shouldn't Donald Trump be on that list? So wouldn't he be shooting himself in the foot if he released it, or is he gonna like take his name out?
If Donald Trump was really on that list, and this is just my opinion, and I could be wrong, but if Donald Trump was really on one of those lists, they would have showed it over the last 8 years. They would have showed it before this election to remove him from that, from even being a candidate. So I think, I don't think that he is on that list, but I could be wrong. And if I'm correct about what's about to happen, you're going to see a lot of events happening in a short period of time after Christmas. And so, but again, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that everyone can have a well-developed conversation about this. All I am, and again, I am absolutely no one special. I'm not. I don't even proclaim to be intelligent or smart. I'm just someone who looks at everything from a macro point of view. But I do love having conversations like this to see everybody else's viewpoint.
Wow. So final thing. Love to have you around. Let Freedom Ring, because we added more speakers up, and maybe they might have questions for you too. But my final thing is, again, I don't know you. I just follow you today. But based on what you've shared, I can say I can back you like 99%. Okay, so I know enough to know that what you've shared, it is accurate. But my final question is, you mentioned about after Christmas. From now to Christmas, we still have like a month and a half. Why would they want to wait until after Christmas? Because then they have a much shorter timeline from Christmas to January 20th. If everything were to go normally, that's when Trump is supposed to be sworn in. And then you mentioned about January 3rd and then January 6th. What's the big deal with waiting until after Christmas? Why can't everything why can't all the bombs just drop now? What are they waiting for?
Because everything before Christmas is politically driven. Everything that's going to be after Christmas, because they have to get their ducks in a row by a certain timeline, because of the legal framework requires them to, and legal precedent with Supreme Courts, district courts, appellate courts. They have to work their magic through this. Everything after Christmas is kinetic. So, for example, before Christmas, we might see all this play out to a certain degree, but after Christmas is the certification or the non-certification of the election. After that happens, the United States, if it happens that way, the United States will be plunged into a constitutional crisis, and a lot of turmoil will happen. In the last 4 days, we've seen sovereigns and leaders from around the world saying that they want to work with Donald Trump and maybe bring peace to Ukraine, maybe bring peace between Iran and Israel, and Netanyahu's getting on board with that. Hamas is saying that they want to sign a ceasefire. All of these things are falling into place. But if Donald Trump is removed, what happens to all those potential peace deals? Well, everything starts to go kinetic. Does that mean that you and I and everybody gets blown up? No, that's not what that means. But it does mean a lot of world events start to happen in a very short period of time. It's a high density event phase, and it should last for about 6 to 8 months of as long as Donald Trump is in jail. And I don't know how long Donald Trump would be in jail for, but I suspect that he'd probably be in Rikers Island. And the craziest part about all of this is that even if they told you that he was in Rikers Island, you probably, me, you, and everyone else would probably not even be able to verify the fact that he was at Rikers Island. He could be somewhere else. They wouldn't even tell us, because you wouldn't be able to go to Rikers Island because it's on an island surrounded by water. And so after Christmas, you will see a lot of things happen. Congress gets back into session, and all the leaders of the world will make their decisions whether or not they want to go forward with peace talks, or do they just want to keep on going with war. That's kind of the crossroads that we're seeing. Again, I don't look at Donald Trump as a hero, even though I voted for him. I don't look at anyone as a hero. I'm an Iraqi war vet, and I think God himself is my only hero. Other than that, I love humanity, but I know that humanity is flawed, just like I am. And to see this happening, I just want to at least bring it to the forefront for everybody to discuss as a possibility before we step into this. Again, I hope I'm wrong about this, but that's just what I see from a macro standpoint. What's your thoughts?
Okay, so Peg, I saw you. So let me just finish this with Let Freedom Ring real quick, because he also brought up something that I find intriguing, and that is, did I hear you say you voted for Donald Trump? Let Freedom Ring.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so you voted for Donald Trump, but then you're sharing with us all of these things that are anti Donald Trump. That's kind of a conflict. Can you share with us why?
Yes, because I was born and raised in California as a Democrat, registered Democrat, and I seen Democrat policies kind of destroy California. And I tried to warn a lot of people at the time that it would lead into overinflation of the entire economy, and it would cause people to move out of the state. And a lot of my friends and family didn't pay me any attention. I left the Democratic Party because they didn't suit my interests and my family's interests. I went over to the Republican side and I realized how corrupt the Republicans were, and so I stopped being a Republican, and now I'm an independent. When I was younger, I was a little bit more foolish, and perhaps I'm still a little bit more foolish, but perhaps I'm a little bit less foolish than I was when I was a Democrat or a Republican. And I see both. I see corruption in both sides of the party. My allegiance does not lie with Donald Trump. My allegiance doesn't lie with the Republican Party. My allegiance doesn't lie with the Democrat Party. My allegiance lies within my love, my absolute burning love for humanity. I hope that humans in general get away from all this craziness. And if I could do anything to help my fellow humans as best as I can, it would be to bring this knowledge to the forefront so we can at least talk about it.
Wow, fascinating. I mean, if I had to say anything, I would say that I love people like Let Freedom Ring. He speaks the words that I want to speak. Obviously, he's so much better, right? Obviously, it's not my topic, but I'm fascinated. So, if you're in this space, if you've been hearing what he has to say, you can hear it from his passion, from that, I believe him. I mean, he seems like he's speaking the truth. He doesn't have to share with us that he voted for Donald Trump, because I from up to the point that he said he voted for Donald Trump, I thought either he didn't vote or he voted for Kamala, because everything he shared up to that point, isn't good for Donald Trump. But by him saying that he voted for Donald Trump and still share what he shared, that tells me that he has a certain level of integrity. Now, of course, I don't know who he is. Okay, I don't know him in real life. I just follow him on Twitter because he hopped in here for some interesting reason. But I'm glad that he's in here. But Peg, what's going on?
Hi, Jenny. Hi, Jen. Thanks. And Tetherball, thanks for hosting the space, and Let Freedom Ring. Yeah, you have a lot of great points. I couldn't come up earlier. And I did post in our Tetherball chat in the private group in WhatsApp about a piece from Glenn Kirshner, who was a former U.S. Army prosecutor and judge advocate general, and for 20 years. And he's been speaking out, in the media about Trump for a while now. And the day after the election, he said, well, this is all good. He said, that they elected him, but he can't be confirmed as president because it doesn't follow the Constitution. And I don't even know if I don't even know what he was citing. Yeah, Jenny, I even brought that up yesterday. I don't know, maybe I didn't, enunciate it well enough, but I did put it in the chat, that it violates, he has already violated the whatever amendment it is, okay, that he cannot be elected. So, I thought that there were things in the works from that day on and probably before. And you remember there was another man, oh, the names are escaping me right now, I have to Google them, but there's the people who, there's a man who was supposed to be a Supreme Court judge, and he and other attorneys came together, and those were the ones that filed a while back that in these various states, in that Colorado, I think it was, that Trump could not be on the ballots in these states because he was a felon. So you remember that? Okay, the Supreme Court squelched that, but Glenn Kirshner, I mean, he's a judge advocate general, U.S. Army prosecutor. Okay, who, like I said, who's been talking, against Donald Trump for some time. So, with the Epstein thing, Trump has been given a public pass on this and other things for a very long time. Just because those women came forward late and everything, and you can disagree with the trial. Okay, many came forward. Once others heard, and originally when when that tape came forward about grab your when you're a celebrity you can grab them. Well, I posted on my Twitter today that there are women in this country who only heard that tape 5 days ago. Okay, they were completely shocked. It's not just vulgar. Okay,
Wait. Pause, Peg. You're talking about the tape that says grab him by the pussy?
yes.
We've heard about that in his first term.
No, I know, but I saw on Twitter. Okay, there were two women who 5 days ago in this country, two young women had never heard it. You could see the reaction video. I have it on. I can even pin it here. I'll go get it. But I needed my hands. But what news is getting through, okay, that these women, they were extremely shocked. Okay, and when you hear that entire video, because it's also been chopped up and everything, and so to make him look better, and his wife excused it by locker room talk. My husband said, I've never talked like that, and I know he hasn't. Okay, I've never talked like that, and I've never heard any men in a locker room that I've been in talk like that, and I've heard lots of guys since then say that. Okay, but they've been giving him a pass on this Epstein thing for a long time because they can't prove that he was down at the island, but they've already, okay, this was already tried, and the cases were already brought forward, criminal cases against him from young women, okay, who were molested or forced into sex with Donald Trump. There's all kinds. There's a woman here on Twitter. Because once I went down that rabbit hole years ago, okay, I was led to this woman who keeps insisting, and she posts all of the court documents, okay, that were filed in New York, and no one says she's a liar. They just squelched it somehow, and that's what she's been complaining about for a long time. Okay, that Epstein had this Manhattan apartment, and this is where a lot of stuff went on. And for 10 years now, they've been trying to stop that and stop this woman from speaking after I don't know what, after she failed to get this case through. So there's a lot of other women who also witnessed for her and came forward and said this was all true. So I don't know why a lot of women did know about this grab them by the pussy video, and still they voted for him. Okay, it's not just, like I said, the vulgarity. I keep repeating this, but it's just the weekend before he was, pretending that, to have oral sex with the microphone, saying something about Kamala Harris. This is not presidential. It's absolutely disgusting. So even if he did all that before, and like I said, he gets a public pass all of the time on all of this stuff, and I just can't even understand why on that. And making fun of people who are disabled, retarded, soldiers. My military family members are horrified. Okay, that ever since John McCain, it's disgusting that we went all through that in the Vietnam War, where that man was a hero, and to disgrace him when you evaded the draft with bone spurs. And I'm not going to say more about that. My father-in-law in World War II tried to enlist. He had one eye, and they ran out of bodies when he was 27 years old. They drafted him. So and he went. He did his thing, right? So I don't think whatever. So those men, okay, they also laid down their arms when they came home. They didn't want anything to do with guns. None of the men in my family have guns. Okay, it's nobody even has the will to want hunt and shoot. They live in rural places where it's done and everything. They're just not into it because they saw too much in war, and they know what happens in these communities and stuff, and why these communities are at war. Again, Jenny was telling us about how she left Vietnam. We're talking about that's the era we're talking about in my years, okay, and before my family fought it. So. Another thing, Jenny, you're going to find this really interesting. We'll talk about it another day, right? Maybe I'll host a space. But I've been following, and it's funny. You tweeted like about 5-6 days ago, I think, about your conversation with an astrologer that you found interesting. About whatever was in your chart and things like this. Well, I've been following astrologers since 2018 that said about the coming American Revolution. Okay, and it's really really interesting that the dates that they had said were January 6th on the money. Okay. And then the 21st, and this is 4 or 5 years. Yeah, I can show it to you, Um, and, uh, and now we are in what's called the Pluto return. And so Pluto's at the last gasps of Capricorn, which is top down structures. And we have like a disruption from Uranus, and this is according to them, and we're going to have more as Pluto makes its come in. Okay, it just did this now with this whole disruption, right? And now it's going to do this 2 more times before, like, I don't know, January, February, something like that. I'll have to verify that. But when I heard those dates, okay, when I listened to the conversations and those dates came through, I was with my brother. I said, oh my God, because I played it for him before that. I was showing him. I said, look what these people are saying. It's going to happen. Very interesting. I think you'd find it interesting, Jen. So thank you for letting me talk. And I loved your analysis. Let Freedom Ring. You're a really good researcher. And, I agree. We're not done here.
Okay. Thank you, Peg. Thank you, Peg. Let Freedom Ring. I want to ask you a question regarding to what Peg just shared. How Peg share about all these things that obviously it's not great, like, the microphone. I'm sure we've all seen that Trump did during the final days before America voted. Looks as if he was giving the microphone an oral sex sort of a situation, and then grab him by the pussy, and then, cases where he raped women. Before you share your thoughts, let Freedom Ring, because I'm asking you, obviously, here's my thought about that. While all of those things are bad, especially if a man is found guilty of being rape, okay, that's bad, right? But things like words that he says, and I know Trump pushed it to the extreme, like the thing what he does with the microphone. We all can interpret exactly what that presumes, like, oral sex, right? And, or he says, grab him by the pussy, or I can do with a woman whatever I want, even though if she likes it or not, right? All of those sayings are words, and they're disgusting. But only if it were to be factual, then it becomes rape, right? It could be rape, because if you do something to a woman without her consent, that's rape. But words are just words, and even though I don't like it, in terms of Jenny Ta, I don't like it, but they're not necessarily crimes. I mean, it puts his integrity like he's nasty, or is like, oh my God, are you even educated to talk like that? Yeah, all those things come into about, but you can't play someone as a criminal for saying those things. You might place them like he's a freaking moron. He's a stupid. He's like an airhead. He's like whatever. And because of those reasons, he shouldn't be president of the United States. But that's not necessarily he did anything wrong because they're just words, right? So what do you think about that? Let freedom ring. First of all, because you're a man, right? I'm a woman. I may have a different perspective. That was my perspective. Unless if if he was caught raping somebody, which I think he did. There was a case against that woman that she won. Okay, I think she won because she raped him. I mean, he raped her. Okay, but there were a lot of women that came out. I haven't seen of any other cases that were won against him except that one case. All of these words in the microphone to me they're just words. So what do you think about that? Does that affect let's just say nothing else happened. Let's just say, let's just say Trump doesn't have any other record, any other bad record. Okay. The only thing that Trump has, let's just say, is what we seen of Trump in the public, the microphone, the same grab her by the pussy, but there's no proven evidence. Let's just make that assumption. When it comes to electing a U.S. president, do you think those are important, or do you think that just he said, she said, and until it's proven, it's just words? What do you think? Let freedom ring.
Absolutely, it's important. I am a husband. I am a father. I have a daughter, and I would gladly give my last breath to protect my daughter at all costs. I think that men and women in this country have been separated due to outside forces. I think that there's a lot of agendas being pushed so that we can hate each other, not just men and women, but probably black, white, Asian, and everybody else. I do know that I would do anything to protect my daughter and my wife because I love them with every beat of my heart. Let's say that Trump did do all of those things and he was the biggest piece of shit on the planet Earth, and there was nobody that was a bigger piece of shit. Let's run with that scenario for a second. Trump has ended 4 wars in the Middle East. I was a part of those wars. I'm an Iraqi war vet, and I saw a lot of women die in front of my eyes. I saw a lot of men die too. I saw a lot of death and destruction in Iraq during Operation Shock and Awe, and I don't wish that on anyone. A lot of these world leaders are about ready to de-dollarize. A lot of these world leaders are about ready to unleash hell on America. And the only thing that stands in their way, or seems to be at least, is Donald Trump. Another way of saying this is this. Imagine if I was accused of everything that Donald Trump was accused of, and let's say that I did do it, and you have a gun, and you have it pointed at my head, and you can end my life. And if you pull that trigger, and I die, then you are satisfied with the fact that you killed a rapist, a murderer, or whoever. But then the hounds of hell are unleashed, and all of your daughters, and all of our daughters, are dead, or drafted, which is the most likely scenario since they have a women's draft ready in the House of Representatives right now, Bill H.4573, and it's supposed to be decided in March. So let's say that's the case. Would you pull that trigger and unleash the wars of hell upon everybody? Or would you say he's a piece of shit, but he's holding back all the hell that's going to come rack and ravage our entire country? That's what it came down to me. A lot of my brothers did not come home from Iraq. I've seen a lot of death. He put to peace 4 different countries at one time, and he didn't start any new wars. I don't want to see you or your daughter or your children drafted. I don't want to see my daughter drafted. That's why I voted for him.
Wow. So, Peg, I saw your hand. I also raised my hand too, just at the point when I really wanted to jump in, but giving him the respect, I didn't. I wanted to let him finish. But here was where I raised my hand. Let freedom ring. Is obviously we heard why you chose him because you are a war veteran, and on behalf of the country. Well, not on behalf. I guess I will just speak to myself for myself. I wanted to thank you for your service, protecting our country. I'm a proud American. And so my father was a POW. He passed away 2 years ago for the Vietnam War. So I definitely respect veterans, who protect their country. Either my father was protecting Vietnam, you're obviously protecting America. So of course we are in debtness to you for your services. But I raised my question for this very reason is that you voted for Trump. You shared that you voted for Trump because he ended the war, many wars, which you were part of. You've seen many deaths. I would not want anyone to be in that shoes because I cannot imagine, visualizing what you've just shared. But then you also share, like Freedom Ring, that you have children. I believe you have a daughter. So here's what I'm thinking. Okay. If I were to make the decision to vote for Trump, because all of the great reasons that you've just shared, okay, I would literally I would take a gamble because I've read Project 2025. I mean, as much as I could. It's very long, okay? It literally wipes away women's rights and take us back 50 to 60 years ago. So I don't know how old your daughter is, okay? but she's definitely, I mean, if Trump were to be sworn in, hopefully whatever you share, something's going to happen. But if that's the case, America is literally going to be like the Wild Wild West. Oh my God. And Jen, as you guys can see, Jen is the host of the space, but she had a meeting, so she had to go, but she kept her phone on. So we won't be get disconnected. But the Wild Wild West, I mean, Jen was saying like 2 nights ago that she stashed her home with emergency food, water. This is the same time as when we had the COVID lockdown in 2020, where we all saw the news that Costco everywhere, toilet papers were running out because everybody was getting toilet papers, right? So this sounds even worse. I mean, the first part that you came in and you share about this, and I'm glad this is recorded, and I'm going to put this on my YouTube for those who can't hear, they get to hear it. So back to what you're sharing, being a father of children, at least you have one daughter. Your daughter's going to grow up in this era of Trump. Again, if he were to be sworn in, okay, you're exchanging the short-term benefits. I'm trying to pick and choose my words correctly here. The short-term benefits, that's why you voted for Trump. And all of the reasons why you voted for Trump, to me, fair and square. Very fair and square. But I'm only putting myself in your shoes that if I were to be exactly like you, how would I vote? Would I risk short-term benefits, which I call it short-term benefits, for long-term death for women? I think you get my point. And to those who don't get my point is that women's rights are being stripped. Again, women's rights have been fought going back to the 1950s or 60s, again, way before I was born, right? Our grandmothers and mothers fought back in the 50s and 60s for what I've had today. I'm using the word had because I feel like that we're going to be stripped pretty soon, okay? So I think my mother and grandmothers to have fought so hard for what I've had for the last, since I was born until now. Voting, speaking out loud, female, I could choose what I want, abortion or whatnot. All of those things are on the line right now of being reversed, if not even worse, if Trump puts out a federal ban. So I'm going to leave it as that, and I'm going to go back and ask you a question. Let Freedom Ring. You have a daughter. You voted because we get the reasoning why you did, and I'm not saying what you did is right or wrong, but then how about your daughter? If all of these things are to come into play, if Trump were to be sworn in and become president, and they're going to activate Project 2025. Can you share with me your thoughts, please?
No, that's a fair question. I'm not saying that I do have all the answers, and I think that women's rights will be fought by people like me. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a Trump worshiper. If I see that Trump is actually going to go through with 2025, which I don't believe that he is, but let's say that he does, they'll have a lot of pushback from veterans like myself.
Okay. Now, if I may intervene, how can we have pushback as citizens? You're going to be a citizen. I'm going to be a citizen. Even all of the Democrats are going to be a citizen. But we've been talking about this the last few days, and out of anybody, I think you should know about this too. Trump's going to have the ultimate power. He has the White House. He has obviously the Senate. You just mentioned he's going to have the House, but by a very slim margin, like barely. He's going to control the Supreme Court. So that's just checkmate. So he has the ultimate power, let Freedom Ring. So for us citizens, and I just checked the data, right? If we were to look at the popular vote, ladies and gentlemen, okay, Trump has 51.67% popular vote, and Kamala Harris has 48.33%. So that's literally 50-50 of the country now. You know how you guys seen that I've been using the electoral vote, which is wrong, okay? Because the popular vote was not concluded yet when I was putting out the news that Democrats are 43% and Republican are more like 57, 58%. But that was based upon the electoral votes. But the electoral votes are not accurate, okay? The popular vote is more accurate, and now the popular vote, I believe, is completed enough that for us to utilize. So as of right now, the popular vote shows that Donald Trump has 51.67% of Americans who voted, for him versus 48.33% who voted for Kamala. Okay, so if that's the case, we can safely say that America is literally torn, okay, at the borderline of 50-50%. Okay, so at 50-50%, I'm going to go back to Let Freedom Ring. The 48.33%, which I'm a part of, okay, our citizen, now including you, Let Freedom Ring, you're actually on the 51.67% because you voted Trump, but it seems like you care as much as I do, okay? How are we going to make a difference as citizens? They're not going to put out anything for us to vote, for us to even make our voices heard. What, are we going to go into the street and start a revolution? Talk to me about that, because you're saying that you say that you're not you vote for Trump, but you're not pro-Trump. So if Trump's going to do anything like invoke the Project 2025, you're going to be one of those voices that's going to go against it. Okay, great, but okay, I keep saying but it's because there isn't much that you can do as a citizen, because when he has all the power, and if he's going to invoke that, you and I going to just sit back and watch. There's just nothing that we can do. Can you comment about that?
Yeah, the people have a lot more power than what most people think. Even though he has the House and the Senate, and he only has the House by a very, very small margin. And to be honest with you, with the neocons, I don't think that he does have the House. I think that it shows it on paper that he has the House, but I think that we will see that that's not the case in the next couple of months. But let's just go with the idea that he does have the House, that he does have the Senate, and that he does have the Supreme Court behind him. He still cannot violate the Constitution. And people like me swore an oath to uphold the Constitution. I care more about humanity than I care about Trump or Republicans. You see, I'm willing to give my life. And I've already proven this over and over again, over the entire year that I was in Iraq. I'm willing to give up my life to the very last breath I have to defend the things that I love. And the things that I love is my wife and my daughter, my country and my people. And everybody in my country is my people. That's why my profile is an American flag with an eagle, and it doesn't say Trump anywhere on it. It says we the people. And people like me who are veterans that do not stand for tyranny, and we won't stand for it. I know that I definitely won't. I'll give my last very breath fighting it. It doesn't matter if it comes from the Republican Party. It doesn't matter if it comes from the Democrat Party. But I see something way more powerful, way more, that takes way more precedent than Project 2025. I see a potential for my daughter and your daughter and everybody else's daughter, and perhaps you, if you're under the age of 26, getting drafted. If anyone thinks that this is fear-mongering or that I'm exaggerating by any means, and good thing that this space is recorded, you might want to check out House Resolution Bill HR 5392 to amend the Military Selective Service Act to allow women to register for the draft. Now, this basically says that women between 18 and 26 will be forcefully thrown into the draft, with or without their permission. And this was designed and sponsored by Democrats because they said that they want to be equal. You may believe in equality in all things, and I do too, but I cherish women a lot because I'm in love with my wife, and I would do anything for my daughter. And so I don't want to see her in the place, in the hell, in the nightmare that I lived for over a year. I don't want to see you in that place. And that place is coming here if Trump doesn't get into office. Now, you may not like that, and you may disagree with me, and we can have a cordial conversation about that. And it's only my belief. And perhaps I'm wrong, because go look at my profile. And I stand by this. I'm nobody special. I'm just one voice in the voice of millions.
All right, Peg, give me a bit more second here, please. Let Freedom Ring. I heard you. I got you. Two things. Number one, I believe you kind of didn't answer my question about voting for Trump. For, I guess I interpret as a short-term benefit versus giving away the long-term, disbenefits of women and girls in the future, which also includes your wife and your daughter. If okay, I'm just saying if Trump is sworn in and if he would invoke Project 2025, would you ever see in yourself to say the word "I regret voting for that man"? That's number one. Okay, and then there's a second follow-up. The second follow-up is, as I was listening to you, you were mentioning about this bill that was hidden and that they will draft all the women, and that's why you love your wife and your daughter, and you don't want your wives or your daughter to be a part of that, to see what you've seen when you were in Iraq, the war. Okay, and then I believe you said that that bill came from the Democrats. So I'm a little bit confused here. If that bill came from the Democrats, then the Democrats are bad. So then why? Okay, I got confused. Can you explain that part? So those are the two areas I wanted to understand.
Yeah, so there is a malicious part of the Democratic Party, absolutely 100%. Democrats need to understand this. The party that we used to know back many years ago is not the same. It has been highly corrupted by special interest groups, corporations, and central banks. And likewise with the Republican Party. The same corruption, the same beast has taken hold over both parties to a certain degree. These people do not work in your best interest. They have a clandestine agenda to wipe out America. And the best way and the fastest way to wipe out America is to get rid of all the childbearing women between 18 and 26. If we go into a war and you send those women into war and they don't come back, there is no more America, because there is no more childbearing age women to give to the next generation. There will be no more Americans. There will be no more America as you know it. I think men and women should live in harmony, only because I love women and I think women love men. I think that we've had a stake drive into us. Do I know that Trump is going to push Project 2025? I don't know that he is. If he is, he's a piece of shit, and we should attack him verbally and in any way that we can. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I do know that what's coming is way more destructive than just Project 2025. If the women are drafted and men will be drafted as well too, it basically means the end of America as we know it. Under Donald Trump and prior presidents, we had roughly a military size of 2.2 million to 2.4 million. Under Joe Biden, it shrunk to 850,000. And if you go Google it right now, it says 1.2 million, but they stopped reporting the data a year and a half ago. All my friends that are still in the military are telling me it's about 850,000. That poses a huge problem. Because if Donald Trump doesn't get into office and all of these leaders do not want peace and they want war with Kamala or Joe Biden or whoever, well, we will have to draft. They will have to start up a draft because we won't have the numbers. And this draft will happen. And God, I hope I'm wrong about this, but it might happen in sometime in spring of next year if all of this pans out the way I think it is. And again, I hope I'm wrong. And if you're a female under the age of 26, you might be seeing it. In World War I, we drafted 24 million men. 2.8 actually served. 116,000 died. 53,000 was combat related. 63,000 was not combat related. World War II was the most bloodiest war in all of human history. 50 million people were drafted, ages of 18 to 64. 10 million men died from all across the world. In Vietnam, 27 million men just from the American side were registered. Two million were drafted, ages 18 to 26. War is absolutely horrific. War kind of trumps everything. Because when we went into Iraq, the very first thing that we did was we turned off the power. We blew up the power plants in Kirkuk, Iraq, and we blamed it on ISIS. And at that time it was Al Qaeda and the Fedayeen soldiers. And power was out for 3 months. If we go to war, power will be out here in the United States in certain areas in 3 months. This generation, and I'm a little bit older, I'm in 40s. This generation that's currently right now alive has never known a day without the internet. There would be no internet for months. And I don't want to see that. I don't want to see what it would do to the young generation. I definitely don't want to see what it would do to my military draft age daughter, which is 21. I don't want to see any of that. I know that women's rights are important to everyone, including myself. I have a daughter. She's my only one. And again, I would do anything to protect her. As a father, and as a protector, as a warrior, as someone who got to see death firsthand, both women and men. I don't wish that for anybody. And I see that coming very soon. And I just wish people could probably see it from my eyes, but perhaps I can't see it from anybody else's eyes. So I don't blame anyone for not seeing it from where I am, but that's just how I see it. Your thoughts?
Oh my God, Peg, I gotta push you back a little bit more here, but there's two more things that he brought up that I need to bring in, and one of those things would be for the parents who are listening to this. I have a question for Let Freedom Ring, and then the second thing is about crypto. Okay, so let me go through those two things. So Let Freedom Ring, my first question is for the parents who are listening to this, because again, between you and I, you're the expert. I'm no expert. You're a veteran. You were in the war. You know how drafting works and everything. So the first question is for the parents out there who gonna have children, gonna become of age of the 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. Can you share with us about America drafting people? When you're using the word drafting people, and you mentioned how it seems like this bill, it doesn't give women, the 18 or the 22 years old, have the right to choose if they can or they can't, because I guess the word draft means you're forced to go, right? Am I correct? So then when you're being drafted, can you explain that a little bit more in detail? That if you receive a letter from the federal government, let's just say in the mail one day, and you're 18, 19, 20, 21, up to 25 or whatever, that say that you're drafted to show up like in one of the military location. Can you say no, or you're forced to go, and if you don't go, you're gonna go to prison, period? So that's my first question. My second question is not really a question. It's more like a conversation. And that conversation is, you know how when you first came in and you were saying that you were thinking to dump $20,000 into crypto, right? And then just 5 minutes ago, you mentioned that something's going to happen, and America could see a blackout. No internet, no anything. So one of the things we all know in the crypto space is without the internet, cryptocurrency die. How are we going to connect wallet to wallet if there's no internet, right? So let's talk about those two things. The first thing is a question, and then the second thing is your thoughts about that, because I know you were thinking to come into crypto. So go ahead.
Yeah. So really good question. Let me talk about the Bitcoin thing first, the crypto and no internet. I've been in a lot of crypto spaces, and again, I don't know a lot about crypto, and I'm just learning a lot about it. But some of the other men that from the other spaces that I was in said that even if the power goes out, because I've asked this question before, even if the power goes out for periods of time, Bitcoin will still be protected somehow, and when everything comes back online, everything will be fine. And so, but I don't know if that's the case. That's why I want to ask more people and see what their opinions are. The draft question is it's a good question. So the way that the United States works with the draft is it's two phases. There will be a registration for a draft, or I guess there would be three phases. The very first phase is the Department of Defense has to tell Congress, has to write a letter to Congress and the president, the sitting president of the United States, that they are unable to meet functional capacity and that they require a draft, and then it will be voted on in the House, the Senate, and the President. And then if they vote on it, then we get a draft. When that happens, what would happen after that is the first phase of the draft, which is registration. So before any kind of draft that can happen, you need to know how many men and women that you're dealing with, how old they are, if they have any illnesses, are they missing any limbs, or do they have one leg, two legs, can they see, or are they blind? That gets taken care of. All those things get taken care of in the registration process, and then you get drafted. The draft, if you do not adhere to the draft and go to the MEP station or whatever Army base or National Guard base they tell you to go to, well, then you're known as a draft dodger, and you basically lose. For right now, it's just men. But if they pass this, it's women too. If you do that, they can shut down your bank account. They could send you to prison up to 5 years or longer, depending on what the judge sentences you. And they could just put you in a concentration camp because you're a draft dodger for the duration of the war. And so it would be very difficult to dodge the draft, especially in today's world where they just can shut off your bank account or access to your bank account. That's why it should be brought up too. Can they shut off crypto? I don't think that they can. So I don't know.
Okay, fair. Peg, I'll let you go up, but my thought is, if they gonna, if you mentioned earlier that America is gonna go dark black, so our generation, we grew up with internet. There's a thought that what happens if the internet were to go away. So if that were to be proven as a fact that internet happens to go away somehow, then cryptocurrency would go away, because without the internet, there's no cryptocurrency. We can't move Bitcoin, meme coins from one wallet to another. I know you mentioned that you don't understand. You're just getting into cryptocurrency, but even common sense, right? I mean, Bitcoin, all cryptocurrency, it requires the internet. We use our apps. We use Phantom app, Coinbase. We have to log into our account. It has to have the internet. Okay, so I can only imagine what happens to crypto if there is no internet. But I will circle back. Oh, Jen came back. Wait. Hold on. I just saw Jen.
Hey,
Hi,
I'm back.
Jen.
Yeah, I think he was talking about the difference between a temporary and a permanent power outage. I think, Jenny, you're talking about a permanent one, or like the internet gets cut. It's actually cords in the ocean. There has been speculation that somebody could go ahead and mess all that up. I won't say which specific countries have been accused of in the past, but you can look it up. But yes, hi everybody, I'm back.
Oh, cool. Welcome. Okay, so we're gonna try to go maybe every 30 minutes here. If the topic is still hot, we keep it on. If not, then of course we've been on here long enough. But Peg, go ahead, Peg.
Hi, my comments were related to the army and things, and the internet outage. So if you've heard yesterday, like Tesla stock is skyrocketing. Tesla, have you seen their latest robots? They're very humanoid. Okay, so about drafting people, and they're making these robots very quickly. I don't like them at all. There's a lot of us that don't like them, and not because of my age, and I don't like the ones that they've made as dogs. Okay, it's really man's best friend. However, the army does use dogs. Okay, but they don't need, well, they'll displace the real dogs too. But so that's one factor. Okay, with Elon being in the government, and another is Starlink. He has promised global connection, okay, and that people will never go down. So I don't know what, just like I said, but he's involved. And, I'm sure that you've heard about what you had heard about was that Bitcoin would never go away. Well, what they mean is that, there's a ledger that is Bitcoin, and it's on every machine that mines Bitcoin, okay? And what mining Bitcoin is a machine, performs a analysis of a cryptographic equation that needs to be solved. And so there's people that provide these machines. They have to have certain equipment, like that NVIDIA equipment, you have to have that kind of level stuff. And also you have to put up 32 Bitcoin, okay, in the pool. So that's why, it's akin to mining. It really is. But so if the internet goes down in the U.S., okay, crypto is global, and it could still be traded elsewhere unless there's like a huge attack. Okay, the other thing is that there could be a lot of things that orchestrate that. Okay, BlackRock could orchestrate a 51% attack, right? And they could while things are down too, the internet's down and all that, they could be doing anything. Okay, so I don't know. Like Jenny tells us all the time, she's been teaching us about how crypto, is not completely doxed and that there needs to be more transparency. She's really, really, really brilliant. You have to come and join those spaces. She's great. Now, women, I'm not really for, women being drafted, but I could see them serve as some kind of civilian, if it's a time of war, see them serve as some kind of civilian whatever, okay, function, paid or whatever, okay, as a, if you have to give up what you're doing for now for the country, people don't really understand because, I came in, I'm not a boomer, I tell Jenny, I'm a little younger, but I came in, okay, where I had, great grandparents and parents, they lived through all these wars, and my uncles, my great uncles, and things, and then, the Depression, and so, I'm not thrilled with women, being drafted like that to go serve in a war. My other thing is that I just happen to know quite a few young people who have violated fraternity in Army. Okay, and you really think that the pregnancy rate is going to be down if women are in the Army? Only if they're killed. I mean, and that's everybody getting killed. And that happened in World War II. Like I was saying, my father-in-law was 27 years old. He tried to enlist, and they wouldn't take him when he was younger. They ran out of people, and they drafted him, and he had one eye, and he went and served. But they ran out of people. There were only women here. And then people don't realize that they had to give every bit of medals, okay, that they had. And, you had peer pressure and stuff. I'm sure, Jenny's family could probably tell you that too, surviving in Vietnam with her father in prison and everything, that every resource and everything had to go to fight whatever. And did, people, they came down, they had nothing. Just a side thing that I wanted to talk about myself on social media soon is that, there is so much privilege, and we really have, a skewed view of things. I see people who are artists, even in this space in Web3, that are making money, and a lot of them, and they're saying, "Oh, I'm so depressed, I'm not making money," and then there they are, over in some, whatever Moroccan village, and I say, my in-laws again, right? They never had anything. My father-in-law was a laborer when he got back after the war, and with the one eye, he was the first guy up on the steel, building both World Trade Centers. My father-in-law, the first people to erect the steel are the Native American Union, and then my father-in-law was up there. I have pictures. So, people served and they did what they had to do, but people don't now have so much. There's so much consumption. They have no conception of people saving their entire lives for a vacation, okay, which you may or may never have gotten, and saving your entire lives for a home. Yes, people got mortgages and everything, but they also struggled. They didn't have anything, some people had Catholic school, private school education. They were lucky enough. They had to work for the schools and things like that, but I'm just saying, there certainly people can do more civic duty, and if it comes down to it, and they have to be forced into it, sadly, okay, that they could do it. But I don't think that they should necessarily be drafted. And like I said, I think you ought to give some thought to the fact about the robots and things. So I guess there's a low birth rate. There's a lot of reasons for that. We could talk about it in another space too. I also had child, lived a long time, know things, and there's people struggling right now to have children, and they're getting with these restrictive laws. Okay, forget an abortion. Abortion has to be included because that's part of the procedure with a lot of these things. You have to leave that alone. Okay, but it's a for families that there's been millions of children born, right? And for families that couldn't have children for whatever reason, to them, it's a blessing, and they're a blessing to the United States. They're citizens here. So, citizens of the United States and citizens of our citizens and things. So really, you have to give some more thought to that. It can't be restrictive, but I agree with you. Let freedom ring. I don't want to see women go there, and Jenny, the, I love it when you talk about that. Maybe he can come to another one of the tetherball spaces where you talk about the various cryptocurrencies and, the doxing of people behind that. Appreciate that.
Yeah, well, thank you, Peg, very much. Well, I have an open door to Let Freedom Ring when it comes to cryptocurrency. I've been learning a lot from him on the political side. I love to learn. Anytime when I see someone, who is better than me, I would follow them, because I love to learn. But when it comes to finance, Let Freedom Ring, crypto, stocks, bonds, whatever, I guess that's my forte. I'm pretty good at that. We do have a private group for the tetherball community. I would love to invite you to go in there. You don't have to do anything. You could just, we talk about all kinds of stuff in there. It's more private, than chit chatting right here on Twitter. So I'll extend that out to you if you're interested. Just shoot me a DM, and then I'll send you an invite to come in. So Jen is the host. She is back. We've been going at it now since 9:30, so that's 10:30. 11:30, 12:30. Wow, almost 3.5 hours. So I have nothing more to add, unless if anyone has
Jenny,
any. Yes, go ahead,
I
Jen.
have to ask you something.
Sure.
I was just throwing some stuff up in the nest, and this is sort of off topic, but I am curious because I know you've mentioned Gavin Newsom before, and somebody just posted something hilarious about him, and I do find this stuff around him very interesting, right? Like I've heard a lot of negative things about him, not like actual like, oh, this is terrible stuff, more like regulation policy, like seems to have a lot of regulation in California. I'm not sure if how much of it is actually due to him, but then what's this blood stuff, like what is going on with these people? Like there's like a lore around him, I think, because people are afraid of him, right? Like usually like people build up stuff around people that they're afraid of, because maybe that person is, he is running, right? What is it, the fourth biggest economy in the world, or is it the sixth biggest economy, California?
I think it's the 6th.
Okay, so but I just I don't know if you've seen any of this stuff, but yeah, what do you have to think about some of this nonsense, I guess?
Okay, I'm glad that Let Freedom Ring is still in here. So I will give it a shot of my thoughts about Gavin Newsom. Because I live in California, and of course, California, Gavin Newsom is the governor of California. To those who are not here in America, to kind of, again, tetherball is the community where we educate, right? We just don't start talking with the assumption that you guys know everything. So that's why we kind of slow down and kind of give it more of a explanation, so that you can be all caught up with us and everybody's on the same page. So a governor of a state in California is the same thing as the CEO of that state or the president of that state. So if and Jen, why I'm talking, if you can help us double check, because you know how I can't type and talk at the same time, and then I'm going to start to stutter, right? So is California still the 6th largest economy in the world? Okay, did you guys listen to me?
Yeah, someone posted it yesterday, but I don't know where they got that from. So let me double check independently. I'll be right back.
Okay, so what that means is, if California is the 6th largest economy in the world, what that means is California itself can be its own country, because that's how wealthy California is. I mean, the 6th largest economy in the world. So that means that it beats like so many countries that is even smaller than the state
It's
of
fifth.
California. It's 5th now. Oh my God, it moved up.
I got
it
it
moved
on
up.
the government website. So let me drop the link.
Okay, so California moved up, ladies and gentlemen. So it used to be the 6th largest economy in the world. Now it's the 5th largest. So Jen, can you read for us who's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th? I think 1st is the United States of America. 2nd, I think possibly China. Right? Jen, can you?
I'm just posting that. This is from California's government page, like the gov.california.gov. So let me just see if they have the other ones on here, because I think people should drop the charts, but those are not always like updated.
Right.
Okay, United States, China, Germany, Japan, California. They actually have a chart on here also, so that's helpful.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, Jen, you kind of read it a little bit way too fast for people to absorb.
Sorry. U.S., China,
America, China,
Germany
is the 3rd.
Japan.
And then, ladies and gentlemen, did you guys see that? All of the top 4 are countries. Okay, United States of America is a country. China is a country. And then Germany, number 3, is a country. Then number 4 is Japan is a country. Then number 5 is California. That's just a state, but it's the 5th largest economy in the world. That's what it means. That's why California is so rich, okay, wealthy. And Gavin Newsom is the president of California. I'm saying president, but the actual term is he's the governor. Okay, the governor of California is extremely powerful. Now, let me go back to answer Jen's question, and I would love to get LetFreedomRing's thoughts on this, because I'm not sure if he's in California or... Oh, he did say he was in California, but I'm not sure where he's at right now. I'm in California. I live in Orange County, okay? So I'm a California girl all my life, okay? Except I wasn't born here. I came here when I was like just a few years old, okay? So Jen, what you're saying, what my thoughts about Gavin Newsom. It's funny, but it was I would say at least 10 years ago, I was an advisor for a biotech project, just an advisor. I was sitting on the board, okay? They had a direct ticket to Gavin Newsom, but at the time, he was not a governor, okay? I shook his hand. I think I took a picture with him, but I got to go find it, because at the time, he wasn't quote unquote important, okay? He wasn't important, okay? So it's somewhere in one of my computers, okay? So I need to go find it, okay? So, so my thoughts about Gavin Newsom is that it's not easy for you to become a governor of California. Now, just yesterday, I've learned that California now is borderline Republicans based upon the current election happened 3 nights ago. So California, Trump literally flipped a lot of blue zones, blue or Democrats, okay, into red zones, okay? So I think 60% of California now is Democrats, and 40% are now leaning Republicans, which is a red state. So I'm sure that Gavin Newsom knows about this, and he needs to do something about it. But here's why I believe that Gavin Newsom could be the next presidential nominee for the Democratic side. Well, first and foremost, I heard about scoops when right before Biden stepped down. I did a tweet on July 18th. Joe Biden not stepped down, but he ceased running for the re-election, and that's when Kamala stepped in, okay, on July 21st. Okay, so at that time, there were a lot of scoops going on that I heard already that the ticket was supposed to be Michelle Obama as the presidential nominee, and Gavin Newsom was supposed to be the VP. I still believe with all my heart that if that ticket were to happen, and of course, I'm not saying anything negative about Kamala, okay, but I believe that ticket would have been so much stronger, and I believe they could have won. The Democrats could have won. Now, it ended up to be Kamala and Tim Walz, because I believe the buck stopped with Michelle Obama and President Obama. They didn't want Michelle to run, because then, they're going to open up a new can of worms. Okay, there's always pros and cons to everything. So here's why I believe that Gavin Newsom is the next leading man for the Democratic Party, because of California, the 5th largest economy in the world. He's a good-looking man. Okay, going back to John F. Kennedy, right? When John F. Kennedy won, I believe he won nearly 90% of the entire America. He was charming. He was good-looking. Okay, John F. Kennedy, right? So, Gavin Newsom has that. Gavin Newsom is tall. Personally, I think he's good-looking. Okay, I'm a woman. I guess I could say that, right? He's good-looking. And he's pretty powerful. He's moving up from being a mayor, I believe, in San Francisco. I mean, you got to go check his history. But Jen, here's my final thing, and I want to get LetFreedomRing's thought, if he knows anything about Gavin Newsom, okay, is that as a politician, Jen, just like LetFreedomRing shared a while ago, that I think everybody has a rap sheet. Every single politician has a rap sheet. How big that rap sheet is, that's for us to know and try to find out. I believe what LetFreedomRing said is that there are bad politicians, like really dark, and there are good politicians, right? But you can't really say once when you're a politician that you're a white knight. You can't, because they can't be clean. White knights are like super honorable, honest, clean. They when you're a politician, forget about that. So there's no more white knights. Politicians, as soon as you're probably a gray knight. if that were to be the case. And I've shared this before, okay, that I believe that because Trump was the president once and he can read everything from everybody, from every senator, from every, House representative, from every politician up and down the line in America. He knows your dark pages, the dark chapters in your life. So that's why when he came back and said, hey, I want to run for the second term, only Ron DeSantis, if you guys remember, Ron DeSantis ran against him. Now, I've heard rumors too that they intentionally put in Ron DeSantis just to make sure to let the world know, okay, that Trump isn't cheating. Like Trump isn't taking his power and making all of the Republicans to vote him so that he would be the nominee. They don't want that. So they took Ron DeSantis out as, quote unquote, you can say a guinea pig to presumptuously run against Trump so that the Republicans say, see, no, Trump didn't do that, because Ron DeSantis ran and Ron DeSantis lost. That's how Trump got the nominee, right? So there's speculations and rumors about that it's been it's been planted and it's been set up. But the truth of the story is Trump has everybody's, neck, locked. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but what that means is he has everybody's rap sheet. So if you don't vote for him to be the nominee for the Republican Party, he's going to get on a mic and he's going to start saying stuff. And then your entire political career will be wiped out. Gone. Wiped out. So if you're a politician, okay, do you want that? Probably not. So that's why all Republicans, no matter if they like him or if they don't like him, there's several of them who did speak out against him, which his former vice president was one. Okay, then, I guess we just have to wait and see. Maybe that's that's it for, I forgot the name of his vice president, but, the one that he was trying to kill, or he didn't care if he gets killed. Okay. So Let Freedom Ring. I wanted you to comment on Jen's question about Gavin Newsom, and then after that, unless if we have anything else, we're gonna get Peg because she's been raising her hand, and then after Peg, unless if there's anything else, we're gonna try to cover it. But I think it's lengthy enough that we can safely call this for the night. Let Freedom Ring. Can you share with us about Gavin Newsom if you know anything about him?
Yeah, again, I was born and raised in California. I don't live in California right now. I live in Oklahoma, but all my friends and family still reside in California, and I know California quite well. Gavin Newsom and California have a couple of problems coming up in the near future. They are the largest economy in the United States, bar none. That is absolutely undeniable, and it's a powerhouse to be reckoned with. The problem with California right now is its energy and where it gets it from. Most of the energy that's consumed by California is natural gas, gasoline, things like that, but most of it's natural gas. Most of that natural gas comes from the Texas Permian Basin shelter.
Let Freedom Ring. Something's happening with your it's getting staticky. Can you move somewhere? Because we can't hear you. We wanted to make sure that we could hear you. Can you speak again? Let Freedom Ring.
Hold on one second. Let me try to move closer to my Wi-Fi.
Okay. You sound like a robot. Yeah, so if you can move somehow. Web3, I saw you. I know you put a comment in our space, so I asked you if you could come in as a speaker. So, Peg, if you don't mind, right after Let Freedom Ring, if we can let Web3 to share his thought first, and then we can get you back. Okay. Let Freedom Ring, are you good now?
Do I sound all right, or am I still
Very low. Very, very low.
very low? Well, I'm gonna drop down. Can you bring me right back up?
Yes. Please come back. Okay, so
Jenny, real quick while he's jumping down, coming back, you have one of my favorite posts about Gavin Newsom is when people are saying BS and somebody's like, yes, he's a psycho, but he's our psycho. Like why I'm bringing that up is because we keep playing nice and people are like, oh, Kamala wasn't, why did they put, okay. If you go to some Democrat leaning posts underneath it now, there's been all ads from Republicans, even though everything's over, and some very destructive ads about her being a woman of color. I mean, she's a DEI hire, which we all know is absolute nonsense, right? But we keep bringing the most qualified people to ticket, and it's opposed to convicted criminals, and they're like, no. So fine, let's bring it on. If they think Gavin Newsom's a psycho, then I guess that's who we need to bring, right? That's where it seems like we're at. I put a poll up the other day, people are saying there's a Democrat in New Jersey, and he won in an area that flipped to Trump. But he's a New Jersey senator, House Republicans. I apologize, I have to double check. But he was saying that people just want anything but a politician. So I'm like, okay, who? Taylor Swift? Like whatever. Like just at this point, throw out the most extreme candidate. I don't know what people are saying. We're not moderate enough, for Democrats this year. Really, I don't know about that. I feel like we're not going extreme, right? But maybe we're playing it too safe. That's kind of what I'm wondering. Is like I feel like whatever playbook we've been using needs to be thrown out. Start over again.
No, I
Jenny,
totally.
my thing is about Gavin Newsom. We had this conversation right at the end of I think it was Tuesday's space, and I told you I wanted to bring something up about him from back in August.
Okay, Peg, we will get to you. Stay patient. Okay. In terms of Gavin Newsom, Jen, if he's the bad guy for the Democrats, I'm actually jumping for joy because again, like I was saying, I think the Democrats, most of them, are playing too nice. They're playing by the book, and I think we're at the time in the era that that Democrats should be more of an asshole. I said this again. I have a post on my Instagram that said that. But let freedom ring. Are you okay now?
Does my voice sound all right?
Oh, so much better. Okay, you were talking about. Let me bring you back up to speed. You were talking about California and the energy, something that's negative in California. So go ahead.
So Gavin Newsom's going to have a big problem here in the near future if things start to get a little wonky, especially with BRICS forming and them de-dollarizing. Most of California's energy comes from the form of natural gas, and most of that natural gas comes from the Texas Permian Basin because it comes from the shell out of the Permian Basin, and it gets piped to California through a pipeline. And these pipelines go all over the world. I mean, all over the United States, including Mexico and Canada. And California will have to figure out a way if Gavin Newsom, Gavin Newsom is going to have to figure out a way how to keep prices low in California if BRICS de-dollarizes and we start to see a little bit of inflation or even increased inflation. He's going to have to somehow get more natural gas or get more fuel to the California economy. The California economy is absolutely massive and it is powerful, but it runs off fuel just like everybody else. And without fuel and without energy, the California economy comes to a screeching halt, and he will have to have this. And I don't know if we find ourselves in a situation where we go tit for tat, red state for blue state. I hope that's not the case. But if that does happen, then if Democrats and Gavin Newsom play hardball too early, then Texas might play hardball too early and just either increase the amount the amount that they're charging California per cubic foot, or they could just shut it all off, kind of like how Putin did to Germany. And so, I don't know. The natural gas thing, the energy thing is huge. Renewable energy in California might have been a good idea at first, but the problem that they're running into with the solar panels is that they're running out of silver. TopCon has 40% more silver in it, and it's more efficient than most other solar panels, but it requires 40% more silver. Right now, we're in 4-year deficit to silver. And so getting more solar panels to more people is going to be a problem too, especially since more people are buying electric cars and they're putting more power on the grid. And that's another problem too, is the infrastructure in California, the electrical infrastructure. Each electrical vehicle consumes the same amount of energy to operate 35 AC units. And so in order for California to get more electric vehicles and more energy, if they're going to go the renewable route, it's going to be very, very expensive. You might see Gavin Newsom kind of turn away from this idea, especially if BRICS starts to de-dollarize. Remember, BRICS had their summits in Kazan, Russia, a couple of weeks ago in the last week of October, and Saudi Arabia now is a part of BRICS, and that's huge, and that's important because Putin has been calling on Saudi Arabia to de-dollarize. And remember, we're not on a gold-backed system anymore. Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard in August of 1971, and we've been temporarily on a petrodollar. And he sent Henry Kissinger over to Saudi Arabia in 1974 because we had inflation in the United States between 1971 and 1974. And Saudi Arabia produced 70% of the world's oil, 80% of the world's oil in 1974. And Henry Kissinger flew over there to create the petrodollar. And that created artificial demand for the dollar worldwide. Because if your country wanted to be competitive worldwide in the world market, then you had to have cheap oil. And the only way you could get oil was really through Saudi Arabia because they own the shipping lanes and they produce 80% of it. But in order to get that oil, you had to have dollars. So it created this artificial demand. But that contract that was signed between Henry Kissinger and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia at the time stated that we would protect Saudi Arabia with the United States military, and we would sell them military grade weapons from our armories. And that petrodollar agreement ended July of last year. I'm sorry, June 9th of this last year. So technically, Saudi Arabia doesn't have to sell oil in dollars anymore, and Putin is trying to get him to not do that. Once that happens, we might find ourselves in a similar situation to 1971 to 74, where we start to see increases in prices of everything. And Gavin Newsom is going to have a very, very hard time trying to manage that without ample supply of energy coming from different sectors. So you probably will see him backtracking on a lot of renewable energies if that happens.
Wow. Okay. Let Freedom Ring. I've read all that you share. So I know you're 100% correct. I probably could not say it as well as you did because it's not my sector. But just one quick follow-up question, which backs Jen, is that if I know you're not in California anymore, but do you think Gavin Newsom could be or would be or will be the next presidential nominee for the Democrats?
I think it's likely. I think that it's probably more likely than not likely. But what's going to determine that is what we're going to go through over the next at least 2 years. The next 2 years are going to be the most defining moment for Democrats and Republicans. And so, if it turns out that Gavin Newsom can weather the storm for the next 2 years that comes our way, then he will most likely be the Democratic nominee. If he can't weather the storm and he can't figure out a way how to keep the powerful economic powerhouse that California is intact while this happens, then the Californians themselves will not tolerate Gavin Newsom. They'll try to get rid of him.
But then that's funny because if Gavin can't do it, but what makes the next man can do it, man or woman?
That's a very good question, and it deserves a really good conversation. I don't have an answer.
Okay, gotcha. All right, Peg and Web3 newbie. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Peg just mentioned that her topic is about Gavin Newsom, so let's just finish the topic. But Peg, if you can respect Web3 newbie, and if you can cut whatever you wanted to say, no more than 5 minutes. That way, Web3 newbie knows that he or she is, I think it's she, not going to sit around waiting because she's been quite patient. And I believe I know why she came up to speak because I asked her to. So, Peg, go ahead. If it's Gavin Newsom, no longer than 5 minutes, please. Thank you, Peg.
Thank you, Jenny. Yes, I in the last couple of years going to speak at crypto conferences, I was wondering because I live in New York and hadn't been out of New York in quite a while. Why people in certain areas of the United States were so conservative, and especially California. I saw it getting really, really conservative, and on various videos and things. So I went to these conferences. I went to Indianapolis, Minneapolis, and Miami, which is also a place that we're talking about now with this election. And this last conference though that I spoke at was in L.A. and I was staying at one of the top Hilton boutique hotels there, and we were told don't even walk one block, take a cab, an Uber everywhere you're going. I wanted coffee in the morning. Here was the shocker. Okay, I'm used to. I live in New York City, right? I'm used to homeless people and all of that and everything that you've seen in the past. I was completely shocked. I have never seen anything like it. The homelessness there, the amount of people on drugs strewn all over fancy places like Burbank, and so I went to go get coffee early in the morning. I got up at 5, right, and it's 3 hours difference. So I go to the 7-Eleven across the way, and they had to buzz me in. And when I got in the store, there wasn't anything to buy in a 7-Eleven. If you guys are listening from New York City or other places, if I could walk in right now and show you, it's chock full of everything, of every kind of anything you would want to buy. Okay, and all the fountain drinks, 19 fountains, right? Well, that stuff was there, and there were homeless people milling around in the store trying to get the last drop of whatever they could out of that thing, which hadn't operated in a long time. The guy said to me, what did I want? And I said, coffee. And he pointed to one of those machines that you have at 3 o'clock in the morning. So there's an entire 7-Eleven store, okay? You can't buy anything. There's nothing for sale in there. And I don't.
Peg,
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm gonna
So I'm just
intervene
saying.
for a
So
couple
so
reasons.
now, yeah.
Can
So
you just
so
go
let me
straight
just,
to the
yeah. So
point?
I'm saying. So I was wondering when I got there, like I said, this is corruption, and I was talking to people, and I said everyone has failed you, and then so I didn't know who the governor was, right? And I looked it up, and I I was shocked because I had seen a post back in August that he was given $950 million to solve homelessness and these problems, and he hasn't accounted for where it is. Okay, he said, oh, his excuse was that he was holding it back because people hadn't appropriated it properly in the past, but they said it's corruption. So there may be some. They're looking at him for something. Okay, he's not forthcoming where like what banks this money is in and that type of thing, Jenny.
Okay, I got you now, Peg. But Web3 newbie, before you jump on, I wanted to make sure to give a different version. I'm not saying what Peg saw was incorrect. Okay, but I live in California all my life. I live in Central California, Northern California, and Southern California. So I believe I have the right to say because I'm a California girl. Okay, I still live in California. Okay, I've been in different parts of the world. I mean, different parts of California. Once again, I'm not saying that what Peg said is wrong, because just like every parts of the world or every parts in America, okay, in the big city, New York, Chicago, Florida, I've been there, Boston, and California, up in San Francisco, LA, there would be good parts and there would be very bad parts. California, without the exception that it does have a very horrible homeless. It's probably one of the highest behind New York, or if not, it is the highest homeless in California. Okay, so if you are within the area of those homeless, which here in Southern California, if you guys know a very famous college called USC. Okay, USC. If you guys Google, extremely famous, but it happens to be surrounded by very bad area. Okay, the students who go to USC, they would live in apartments where it's gated. Like you got to drive your car inside there. The gate shuts down so that those apartment complexes protects the students that go to USC. Trust me, I know these things. Okay, so so yes, around USC particularly, which happens to be in Los Angeles, there would be a 7-Eleven, kind of like what Peg said, that they have to buzz you in. Okay, stores that would have gates that they would have to buzz you in. Okay, just to protect themselves, right? But overall, California is not like that. Okay, like for example, I'm thankful to God that I live in an area where it's very lavish. Like I live in Orange County. It's called Beach City. If you live in Beverly Hills, if you live in parts of Hollywood, if you live in they're also very wealthy people who live here. Okay, and that those things don't happen. 7-Eleven has a lot of great things. So again, my bottom line is it depends on certain area. But in terms of Gavin Newsom being corrupted, okay, we're just back to talking about politics. Who isn't corrupt? We just voted for the next president of the United States, and he's probably the most corrupted man in the world. Okay, so for us to talk about corruption, if that were to be, when it comes to politics, I believe we can bypass that now, because it's not about who is corrupted, but I think it's more difficult for us to find a person that we can legitimately say that who's not corrupted, which is probably none, zero. Okay, it's just who's more corrupted or who's less corrupted. But let me end
No,
there.
Jenny, what I was saying is that I think he was being quiet because of all of this investigation. Okay, he was saying that I'm not saying that he doesn't know where the money is. I'm just saying, he's being pressured and he won't come up with that information for whatever reason. Okay, so but they've put a label on that as him not knowing where the money is and corruption. There's corruption built in New York City. High dollar construction in the contract. There's 25% built in for corruption.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to conclude with this Gavin Newsom thing that if he is or if he isn't, all I know is that Gavin Newsom is highly protected by some of the most powerful people in the Democratic Party. And those powerful people, you can say the Clintons, the Obamas, Pelosi, Biden. Okay, those are some of the most powerful people in on the Democrats. Okay, so so let's just leave it as that. Now, we're gonna go to Web3 newbie. If you can unmic yourself, and then Thomas, I'm going to add you, but I'm not sure how much time we have left. So
Yeah, Jenny, I know Thomas. I also sent him a DM. I'm going to start a tech AI space with one of my co-founders from one of my companies. So that's going to start after we close here. So I told him his question would probably be best over there. He's a hardcore dev. So
okay, so if he's with you, definitely
I
it's
didn't
fine.
ignore him.
Yeah, definitely it's fine. No problem. All right, Web3 newbie, go ahead and unmute.
Yep, I'm unmuted. Hey, Jenny. Hey, everybody. Great to be here. So it's been an awesome conversation. First, I wanted to just comment super fast on Gavin Newsom. I went to USC back in the late 80s, early 90s. And yes, it is knee deep in gang, the gangs were around and you walked to Figaro and you saw prostitutes. And so it was interesting that the college was kind of smack in the hood, for lack of a better word. And LA back then was different. And then in 2022, I moved back to LA. I'm bi-coastal, but my residency, my driver's license says Los Angeles, California, downtown. And downtown has changed. And I think I know the 7-Eleven Peg went to. And Peg, you probably went on a day where it was cleaned out. It's probably that one near all the hotels. But the one a few blocks over in Chinatown is always stocked up. But it's downtown LA and it shifts. Like it used to be Skid Row back in the day. But I think that Gavin Newsom, part of the issue, and I'm going to jump to something LetFreedomRing said, because I thought he was sharing some amazing points. The thing with Gavin Newsom being president or running for president is he's not going to have the same type of autonomy and the same type of I don't know the word that I want to use. So I'm just going to say fill in the blank adjective as he would in California. Running the United States of America versus running the state of California. The budget, the celebrity, the entertainment, Silicon Valley, like he would have to leave a place where he's built something that works for him and step into a role where you won't get that everywhere. You don't get California in Alabama or in Mississippi or even in Missouri. It's different and it's everybody. So I'd be curious to see if he decides he wants to run for president, because he would be stepping into a whole other ecosystem. I wanted to ask Let Freedom Ring really fast, if he could. What was the bill that he was referring to? Was it HR 8070?
Which bill are you referring to?
No, you had earlier in the chat, and I did earlier in the conversation. You had mentioned the bill about the women being forced to go into the draft, and I was just wondering what bill that was.
That's bill. HR stands for House Resolution HR 5392. The title of that is to amend the Military Selective Service Act to allow women to register for the draft.
Cool. I'm gonna actually look it up. So it's funny, in my spare time, because I'm a little bit of on the day, I've been obsessed with HR 8070, which is also a military bill, and also with the Veterans Administration, because we don't treat our veterans well. Thank you for your service. My granddad, my dad, and my brother were all in the military. I've done work at the Veterans Administration on the media side, and it's just a little scary, but I just wanted to mention really fast, because I know you guys have been on here for a while. I think I've been on for about an hour. That like in HR 8070, they talk about Agent Orange on Guam. They talk about the testosterone levels of members of Army Special Ops Forces. They talk about the treatments for acute radiation syndrome. They talk about pilot programs on cryopreservation and storage of gametes of certain members of the armed forces. And so I bring that up to say too, there's so much that is going on in our government all the time. Like I hope everybody who's in this space, and Jenny, thank you for taking. I first got on this space about tetherball because I'm learning crypto and all of that. But thank you for just broadening the expanse and all the smart people and commentary that come in here from different walks of life and with different knowledge levels. Because at the end of the day, and I'm from DC. I'm in DC now. And I often tell people, if we don't get involved in the things that are going on, then you're not going to know how things affect certain groups. And at the end of the day, we all have each other to rely on, to be accountable for. The last two things I wanted to mention was also something that Let Freedom Ring brought up about the Nixon Kissinger oil Saudi Arabia. I self-studied that. And it's a fascinating just journey into how important oil and those types of natural resources are, and how we got to where we are and why. The same with gold. The last thing I'm going to bring up too is the California energy issue he brought up. I was like taking notes as I was listening, so I'm glad I went last, or it took me a minute to get on. The use of California's energy is insane, and so that's another reason when I got into crypto, I've been wanting to get in for a minute, or I should say Web3 or blockchain or all of that. The whole thing. I got into DePIN, Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Network, and I really hope that Let Freedom Ring. I hope you get on more of these. I hope you connect for sure with Jenny, because once I learned about DePIN, I was like, oh my God, this is game changer. This is there are things that are happening on the blockchain, in the Web3 space, that are like literally going to change the world. So I'm like so thrilled that I finally was like, I'm going balls to the wall. I dealt with some really bad actors for like the first 2 years, and have finally found tribe and folks that know what they're talking about and are honest, and just like let it be known. But everybody's got a different role to play, and there are 1,000 roles to play in this space. So that's all I wanted to share. Thanks, everybody.
All right. So Let Freedom Ring and Web3 newbie, I'm gonna drop you an invite link to our private group on WhatsApp. Please kindly hop in. We love to have folks like you, be a part of our community. We're definitely built different. Where I would love to learn from both of you, from your expertise, especially Let Freedom Ring, of course, your political side, your military side, because it seems like we're heading towards that way. And if you both like to learn about cryptocurrency, finance, and stuff like that, that's my forte. So, I would love to coach you guys whenever, you guys have a question. And of course, it's just not just me. Our WhatsApp private group is made up of investors, of TBALL, advisors, credential people in the group, and of course, ambassadors. They like to tweet. They help tweet out things because, of course, they have a bag of TBALL. That's obvious, right? So regardless, if Trump is going to be sworn in or not, we talked about how cryptocurrency is going to be deregulated. So maybe crypto is going to boom. But giving all that, Let Freedom Ring just share with us and give us the alpha that at least I've learned today. Things going to be crazy and wild for the next couple weeks, or at least the next 2.5 months to come. I mean, at least from now to Christmas, and then even after Christmas. So anyway, Let Freedom Ring, I did drop you the link. Web3 newbie, I also dropped you a link. Janet's in there, Peg is in there, Dee and the rest of the folks in the room. I believe that they are in there. I think Jen is due for another space. I ran across her tweet there, so we got to let go of Jen. She can't be in two spaces at the same time. So Jen, you are the host, I guess. Take us out, or let me, thank Peg and thank Let Freedom Ring and thank Web3 newbie one final time. Does any one of you have anything else to say within 60 seconds? Anyone? Peg, Let Freedom Ring, or Web3?
I do not.
Thank you,
I'm
Let Freedom
fine.
Ring.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm fine.
Thank you, Peg. Thank you, Let Freedom Ring. And I believe Web3 newbie, you're also cool because you just finished talking anyway. So Jen, take us out. Take us home.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for holding it down, Jenny. While I was in my meeting and driving, I was glad to come back to hear some good stuff, and I was listening when I was driving too, so I was keeping up with everything. So I'm glad for everybody coming out. And we do have these spaces weekly at 9:30 Pacific time and 12:30 Eastern time on Fridays. If there's topics that people are really interested in, and I hear enough about that, that's how the next topics come around. So definitely drop comments and such in here or on any of the other spaces that you see for the tetherball spaces, and then I'll know that's what you guys want to hit up for next time. Though we're not short of topics, I think we're kind of backed up a little bit, but I know you knocked and crushed out a ton of questions today, Jenny. So thank you so much for your time. Anybody who's interested in AR, VR, XR, AI, any of the tech stuff, follow me to the other space. We're launching some stuff right now, so it's kind of exciting. And it's for builders and non-builders. So come over there, ask questions, just hang out. And I appreciate everybody's time, and we'll see you next week.
Jen, I would love to, because I love AI and you're in there, but I'm so beat up right now. I gotta go grab some.
No, you need to eat.
Yeah.
We're gonna be hosting them. I'll be hosting a lot of those coming up. So please don't feel obligated.
Okay, gotcha.
But for those people just jumping in now who kind of missed this space, you got to get your AI fixed, because I know that's in the title, or you feel like we kind of veered off a little bit. It's going to be super techie. So all the super techie people, come follow us. But again, you don't have to be a dev yourself to enjoy the space. There's a lot of people that are just interested in AI that come into those spaces.
Is it recorded, Jen?
Get the links up.
Is it recorded?
No, we actually have a no recording thing. We're super privacy. But if you like tech and you hate how anti-privacy tech is, we're like the opposite.
Okay.
Maybe we could be the white knights of AI. I don't
Gotcha.
know.
Well, I'm just glad that you're part of the leading team, the C-suite of TBALL. So we have you 24/7. So that's super good. But definitely, if after I finish, if you guys are still on, eating. I gotta get something to eat. Then I will hop in. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, LetFreedomRing, Web3 Newbie, Peg, and everyone who spoke, Giant Judge. And well, have a great weekend, you guys. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. See you soon.